This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, plus our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We're your host,
Cheryl.
And Jay.
All right, so this week we watched A Quiet Place Day 1, and I am on deck for trivia. So, are you ready?
Yes.
So Lupita Nyong'o, who is our lead in this film, had a fear that she had to get over prior to starting this adventure. What was Lupita afraid of?
I'm going to say cats, because she had a cat with her the whole movie.
And you would be right. She was afraid of cats. Apparently she had to go through cat therapy, like cat fear therapy. Or I don't know if it was fear therapy or just general cat therapy, whatever that may be. In order to film for this movie, she really wanted to do the film and play Sam. So she did what she had to do to get over her fear. And now she actually owns a cat. So that cat therapist was obviously very good.
Cats can be unpredictable. So having a fear of cats is... our uncle had a vicious cat, and our aunt. Both of them had vicious cats.
Yeah, I'm not a cat person, so I don't have a fear of cats. I just don't want to be around no cat.
And they have really sharp claws, and it's inhumane to declaw them. So I can see that.
Yeah,
and you never know if they're gonna scratch you or not.
She might have had a bad experience with the cat, but she all good now because she did good in this with this cat, and now she own a cat. So shout out to the cat therapist, unnamed. Now let's get into our episode.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, we have a pretty lengthy agenda here. We've got, of course, more Marvel news, some DC news finally, movie news that are about some new releases coming to Netflix, a new anime from the Terminator universe, a trip to the trailer park, and we have a healthy serving of Buncha Crunch.
All right, starting off at the top, we got a little news from Kevin Feige about Fantastic Four. So there's an official Marvel podcast out now. If you are interested, they got one whole episode available. And Kevin Feige was the first guest, and he talked about, I didn't actually listen to the podcast episode, I kind of got the clips, but he confirmed that Fantastic Four will be a period piece set in the 60s, but it will not be the 60s of this universe. It will be the 60s of an alternate universe where the first family been hanging out, kikiing, and having a good time, while we've been over here getting destroyed by Thanos and Kang. Well, maybe Kang. We don't know yet. But he basically said on the podcast that some people were very smart and guessed based on the poster that came out with Johnny Storm. There was a city in the background, and people were like, that don't look like today's New York. They look a little funny. And they were right. It is not today's New York. It's a 60s New York in a different universe. But it looks like a futuristic 60s New York. So I don't know how that works either.
Yeah, it was obvious to me in the poster that the city looked different.
Yeah.
Even though their clothing looked very old.
Also true.
It looks like the Jetsons. That was my reference to it.
Right.
Tall skyscrapers that are like really thin in the bottom, and then like really bulbous at the top, because
they got like
lives at the top.
Right, and it's got like holes and the architecture is very much like the Jetsons.
Looks like Gotham City almost, like the animated version of Gotham City. It just looks really fictitious. So I could tell that it was like retro futuristic.
Retrofuturistic is a very good term to describe how that poster looked.
That's usually how the Fantastic Four looks in the comic books, and whenever they try to take them back to the 60s.
They've never done that in the movies, I guess, huh?
No, they haven't.
So this will definitely be different from the other movies that we got.
Yeah, so
style-wise,
that'll be cool.
Okay.
And I think it'll be also interesting. This will be the second non-Avengers universe. The first one was the X-Men universe. So is that going to be the thing? Like every universe has one super team?
They can't be together because you get the question of, well, where were they all at?
And that's already an issue with comic books.
Right.
There's already an issue of all the things that they all go through separately while no one else shows up.
Like, where was Thor when Wolverine was getting his bookie?
Right.
So, you're right. They need to be in separate universes. And then we already know Monica is with the X-Men now.
Right.
So now we got to somehow have some sort of event that brings Fantastic Four over. And I'm curious what that's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. And another thing that Kevin Feige said was that they are going to start filming Fantastic Four right after Comic-Con. He literally said the words Comic-Con. So we didn't just insert that in there, which people are speculating if the cast is going to be at Comic-Con, which is in like 3.5 weeks.
Where are they filming?
London. I believe London.
Interesting.
So they can just take a PJ over right after the panel.
Yeah, they can just fly over.
And Marvel panels are typically on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. They were not at Comic-Con last year because of the dual strikes. So people are like, oh, they got enough time to make a panel or, a pit stop and then shoot over to London to go film the movie, which is probably what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see or hearing about if they show up to Comic-Con.
So we're going to be at Comic-Con, y'all, but we're not doing Hall H because it's our first one. We don't want to like sleep outside on Friday and then sit in the Hall H all day on Saturday for our first go around. So we'll be in the vicinity of whatever happens.
All right, next piece of news we have. So we finally got to look at Superman's suit in the daylight.
Suit.
We got a picture. We got a couple pictures of David Cornsweet and Eddie Gathagi. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Who plays Superman and Mr. Terrific, respectively, in the new upcoming Superman film under DC that is being directed by James Gunn. This Superman is different from the most recent Superman we just had with Zack Snyder, is because he has the red undies on.
I don't mind it. I know. I don't love undies outside of a suit because it's like real, like your underwear. But I get it.
It's different.
It's OG.
It's different.
It looks good.
It adds some contrast.
It does.
And that's one of the very first things they did with Superman to modernize him, even in the comics, was they
took his underwear.
They took the underwear, and that just makes the suit just like sleek and cool looking. But and then it just makes it blue. The suit only has 2 colors.
Well, he got his emblem, and he got a little cape.
He has his emblem. Also, they still have not shown us, but James Gunn did confirm that he will have the S on the back of his cape too.
One of the pictures you see it,
and that is where they usually always take that out of the movies. Oh, the S on the back.
You're right. Yes, the S is back. The suit looks better on these set photos of somebody's.
Looks better in the daylight.
Yes.
It looks better. It looks more colorful. I don't know why they chose to release that first picture where it's like all
the Chat GPT pic,
flushed out and dark.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that it's just like a royal blue and a regular red.
The cape looks very good as well.
And the yellow is very yellow. It doesn't have to be like dark or super realistic. It looks ridiculous because he's a superhero.
He's not from here, right?
I like Mr. Terrific's outfit more.
I like that jacket.
Because it's so comic accurate. Mr. Terrific's outfit is probably like one of the most comic accurate outfits I've ever seen in live action.
They got it down to the stitching. Shoes. Yeah.
I love the trim on the motorcycle jacket and the pants. I love the black, white, and red. They kept the fro, which was an interesting choice.
Let the black man have the fro.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the fro. It's just that
and the sideburns.
The fro was like debut Mr. Terrific, like golden age, and then over time it's turned into like a fade.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you got a wave cap on.
or cornrows. So
well, that's an option, but.
I like the fact that I thought it was interesting that they chose to bring back the fro. I think that's cool. It's iconic. It matches side by side with
Superman.
The pictures of Mr. Terrific and Superman.
What I jacket
don't like is the S curl.
So we got a picture of Clark Kent as well. Somebody was real busy sneaking pictures, so they got us a picture of Superman and Clark Kent. And there's actually, did you see the video?
I saw the video of him supposedly walking through like the hustle and bustle city of
Cleveland. Metropolis, and he got a little curly top.
It's not good.
Fro. It's looking real perm.
It's not good.
Now the whole thing is you don't know that Clark Kent is Superman because he looks different. The curly fro not throwing nobody off enough.
Wigs always look bad, but it's too curly. It's too
fresh out of the perm.
Curly, yeah.
Like he just got out of the sacred salon.
Yeah. Like he has a stronger curl pattern than I do, which
It's giving like 2B,
It's unrealistic.
2C situation.
Right.
But I whatever. I get it's a minor detail, but it was distracting.
Funny. I do find it funny.
They gonna see this feedback and they gonna like slick it down a little bit to give him a little comb over.
And as somebody who knows something about hair, so with Clark Kent, he's supposed to like
supposed to be like nerdy.
He's supposed to be able to change in the telephone booth and switch between the two, which you have to suspend your disbelief that a person can change in a telephone booth the size of Clark Kent. But okay, you suspend your disbelief he can change the telephone booth. Okay. I don't think he could transform the curl to a slick back like suspending my expectations.
Listen,
I still don't think the transition from the curl to the coif is possible.
That I believe. All you need is a little bit of
phone booth,
eco styler, and a comb, and you just go.
You can't carry all of that. He already has a suit on him. You can't carry a Jailer Eco Styler and a rat tail comb.
Listen, the first picture we got of this man was putting his boots on like he ain't had nowhere to be. I'm like, you gotta hurry up, sir.
I thought the curly wig was funny.
The curly wig was funny. I hope it was a little distracting. So I hope they flatten it out a little bit. But it probably looked better in post-production. So,
aside from the wig and their outfits, we saw in the set photos, it looks like it's the aftermath of some type of big fight.
Yes.
The streets of, one street of Metropolis is toe up, which I'm sure they're not foreign to.
Right.
And it looks like he's being arrested and taken away. Superman is being arrested and walked away by the military. Yeah, he's handcuffed, which looks exactly like
Man, how you
when Henry Cavill Superman was handcuffed. He turns himself in because he's Superman and he wants to let the military know they can trust him. So whenever they ask for him to surrender, he surrenders because they can't hold him.
Because when he sneezes, he's gonna break the handcuffs.
He's just gonna he's going to cooperate for a certain amount of time until it becomes inconvenient, and then he's gonna be like, all right, well, I played along enough.
Gotta go.
Right.
I'm Superman.
We also got some Green Lantern news.
We did. So we will be getting a series, which we kind of knew this was coming, but it's now confirmed. We will get a Green Lantern series called Lanterns that will be a HBO original, which is funny because they were bringing the name HBO back after getting rid of it for HBO Max, but that is my own gripe. I will keep to myself.
Yeah, so along with this and Harry Potter and a bunch of other shows, this was originally going to be a Max debut. Yeah. To drive audiences to the streaming service. But I think what ended up happening is House of Dragon had its season premiere. Which releases on HBO. Right. And they noticed that more people watched it on... live on HBO. Instead of watching it on Max. So
nobody want to pay for Max.
They're trying to change their release model to kind of match what those numbers are looking like.
Just streaming services, they really just played that game real wrong. So this show will be on So what happens with House of Dragon, right, is that it premieres on HBO, and then I don't know if at the same time or shortly after you can also watch it on Max, right?
I think you can watch them both on Max and on HBO at the same time.
Unless you have Max, you're not watching it unless you got HBO.
Right. The thing is, with shows like House of the Dragon and other Star Wars shows that we're starting to notice, more people are watching them upon release because the conversations and the spoilers come out sooner, like as soon as the episode is over.
Before the episode is over.
So the Max viewership has kind of fell a little bit because more people are watching it live instead of going back.
Because that's how TV used to be.
Yeah.
So streaming, y'all played that game wrong. Anywho, this Max... I'm already messing up. This HBO original show will feature both Green Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan.
DC said we're avoiding the race war.
Listen. Now,
so when this show was announced, people were immediately like, we want Jon Stewart.
Right, which is the black guy.
Because Jon Stewart is the better Green Lantern.
Why people don't like Hal? Because Ryan Reynolds played him?
Jon Stewart is no. Well, not only is Jon Stewart just the better Green Lantern, but he's the one that they've used for everything. Like all the DC animated shows
have been using
the
him.
DC animated movies. They use Jon Stewart just because he's better. He's just cooler.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And Hal Jordan is cool too, but I mean he's number 2.
Right, and I don't feel like the previous Green Lanterns movies have been getting a lot of love, so they might want to bring back the OG.
Plus, there's only so many areas for diversity in the Justice League, and this is it.
I was gonna say with this whole new slate that got announced, I was kind of like, "Where's the color?"
Yeah, there's no other than Martian Manhunter and Jon Stewart. There's no
Right.
other like
Right. I was kind of like,
diversity.
you need to add a little bit of
They
color
decided
to
they're
this
going to hit
lineup,
two
James.
birds in one stone.
Right.
It has been described as a superhero show crossed with a True Detective,
Okay. That's
which
different.
HBO fits. True Detective was
Yeah.
HBO original.
Yeah.
The series will have 8 episodes, and it'll follow Jon Stewart as a new recruit and Hal Jordan as a Lantern legend, as the 2 intergalactic cops who investigate a murder in the American heartland.
Pew pew.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm
Why do they
wondering
need
who's
to be
murdered.
I was wondering where they're gonna be in the heartland. Is that like Oregon or is that like Ohio? Not that matters. I was just curious.
I don't know. Yeah. So
They
whoever's murdered,
specified heartland for a reason.
whoever's murdered has to be a super powered being
Because why would they care?
and somebody who may not originate from Earth, because
Why would
why
they
would you
care?
need to send 2 intergalactic cops to look
Right.
at that, and superhero cops at that? So I'm interested to see what the murder is. I think that'll be interesting.
Like, what's the premise and all that behind
yeah.
it?
And
It
True
sounds
Detective is a
good show.
that's an ambition.
Right.
Like, True Detective gets like gritty. So
What
what are we talking here?
It sounds interesting. I will give them that. It
Yeah,
does
I
sound like
absolutely
something
watch
I
it.
would be tuned into. Very interested on the casting on this and who's going to be behind the scenes.
Special effects will be key.
Very much so.
All of Green Lantern's powers are literally just special effects.
So this is budget.
Yeah, this will definitely have to. We're talking budget. We're talking volume, costuming. No
Yes.
CGI costumes. We got enough of that with Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
No, we don't want to watch that no more.
I'm really interested in who the Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan are,
Yeah.
because it sounds like it's going to be a buddy cop, so the casting matters.
And it sounds like it's going to be a younger and an older as well.
I would like that too. And then I would also like to see how this. So are they going to just keep it? Well, I guess they can both stay Green Lanterns at the end of it.
Probably.
Because there's multiple.
One's
Green
going to go on
Lanterns.
to the movies and then one's probably going to be based on Earth, maybe?
There's multiple Green Lanterns for
Oh, okay.
Earth. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody going to stay ground side and somebody going to go intergalactic.
Yeah.
Probably. Sounds interesting. As we learn more, we will bring y'all the news.
So Timothy Oliphant got a new job. He is the new Terminator.
I was like, what?
So Netflix's Terminator Zero was already announced. It had some, I think it was at Summer Game Fest or something, that they showed screen captures of the show, but
We
no
mentioned
official
this.
trailer.
Yeah.
Still no trailer yet, but it's an anime. It's coming to Netflix. Netflix has been in their anime bag lately.
They trying.
With Castlevania and Blood of Zeus and some other things that they've acquired. I think they're rebooting
Is
One Piece.
Arcane in it?
It's a I don't
No.
know if Arcane is technically an anime.
It's just animated.
Animated.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, it
I need
fits.
to watch that, by the way.
Netflix is definitely doing their animation thing. But
They try.
Timothy Oliphant will be the voice of the new Terminator in this Terminator Zero series. Essentially, we talked about this on a previous episode.
It's because I was confused.
Essentially, Terminator Zero is about the resistance from the future sends a soldier back in time to save
Yeah.
a scientist who is crucial to the survival of mankind during the uprising of Skynet.
And I was like, this sounds like the Terminator.
And that sounds like Terminator 1. But the key difference is it's the exact same thing, but it's taking place in Japan this time.
So it's Zero.
Yes. So it's day 0, I guess. So it's Quiet Place.
Sure.
Andre Holland will be playing Malcolm Lee, who is a programmer who creates an AI called Kokoro.
Coogler. I'm
the-
going to try to say that right.
The voice of Kokoro will be Rosario Dawson, who we all know from being legend Rosario Dawson. And they will be saved or rescued by Sonoya Mizuno from Civil War and House of the Dragon, who will voice Echo, who is a resistance fighter in 2022. I think that's interesting.
Okay.
Who's
so
a resistance fighter 2 years ago.
Now, so what's the Terminator? Who the Terminator going to be fighting?
So the Terminator is usually sent back in time to kill a scientist.
Or in the original, he was sent
Right.
back to kill John Connor
So
or the mom.
yes, so in this one, so in the original Terminator, they sent the guy back they sent the guy back to save Sarah Connor.
Right.
I think they just did a gender swap. So
Okay.
I think instead of Sarah Connor, Malcolm Lee is a guy who's a scientist. And
Gotcha.
then instead of the guy from Aliens 2, who played, the commando, who came back to save Sarah Connor, is going to be a woman.
Okay. Okay. And now Rosario Dawson is playing a Kokoro.
Yes.
Right. Who's Japan's answer to Skynet. So I'm not sure how that fits into anything either. Exactly. Because why do we have an alternate
I'm wondering if this is canon. Because this never came up. This was never mentioned. This is never part of the plan in any of the other films.
Skynet was just Skynet.
Yeah, because every movie they send a resistance fighter back from the future to the past to assist with stopping the future, and they never mention Kokoro. So
interesting. You know they like the retcon stuff.
Or did this happen and then eventually not result in anything?
Or that.
Because it didn't actually stop anything from happening.
Well, and do we ever, with Terminator, I think we've learned that we don't actually ever stop anything.
This series will also star Ann Dowd, who will be voicing a prophet who's the guide for the human resistance in the future. Ann Dowd is previously from The Exorcist Believer and Hereditary. So interested in seeing it. The screen captures of the show look good. I mean, it doesn't look like anything different. It looks like a classic 90s, like a Cowboy Bebop style animation.
Oh, yeah.
Which I really like, so.
I wonder if this is supposed to go beyond one season, and if Netflix is going to give this a chance to breathe before canceling it.
It could. Timothy Oliphant, Rosario Dawson, Andra Howland are the top 3 billed people.
Yeah.
And they've been doing series lately, so I think that they can absolutely
let it breathe, Netflix. Let it breathe.
And I think most voice work now, ever since COVID, they just send you like microphones and stuff at home.
Right.
So you don't even have to leave your house to do voice recording.
So at least allow the show to come out. Let us see it before y'all like can it. Please. Thank you.
In addition to doing the Terminator, the showrunner, Mattson Tomlin, will also write Ryan Coogler's Proximity Media's produced show, A Vicious Circle. And this is an adaptation of a graphic novel. The story is about assassins from the future who try to hunt each other through time.
Pew, pew.
Yeah.
Pew, pew. It's described as a John Wick meets Looper, which you already have me at John Wick. I didn't see Looper, but I know what Looper's about.
It reminds me of this video game called Deathloop.
It's vicious circle, Deathloop. Okay, I can see that.
Deathloop was about this guy who would be assassinated by this strange woman, over and over and over again, and it would reset the day. And the only way he could get himself out of the cycle was like
finding out who she was.
Basically, going John Wick. And there's like this high table of assassins that he has to kill to stop the time loop. But yeah, it sounds like that. And that was the game was not good. The premise was good.
Darn.
The premise was good, and it sounds like they chose the better course with this type of premise and to make it a movie instead of a video game.
Yeah. So Ryan Coogler's production company plus Mattson Tomlin is also going to be writing Batman Part 2. So he must also be in his bag because that's a big shoe to fill from the original. And Ryan Coogler's production company Proximity Media, I know how to talk, y'all, is currently wrapping up on Ironheart. So
that makes sense.
I can see how the work presents itself because it sounds like it's going to be good.
I'm interested in seeing this. All right, so that is the end of our news. Let's roll into the trailer park.
Toot toot.
First stop we have is for Nosferatu. This is a movie that's coming to theaters on Christmas Day.
Interesting choice.
That is interesting. I actually like that. This stars.
I don't mind it, but it's kind of like praise the Lord, go watch vampires.
It's different.
It's very funny,
and it looks like a Christmas movie.
No, it don't.
It's got snow. This is gonna star Bill Skarsgård, Lily Rose Depp, who I'm sure she's just thank her lucky stars she got another job after that Weekend disaster.
Oh yeah, that show that she had that they were like, we're canceling it.
Yeah,
please don't ask
by the
about
Euphoria guy.
Don't think about this
Please
again.
Don't talk about it.
We're burying it.
Nicholas Hoult, who's Beast. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's
Beast?
Quicksilver.
Beast? Yeah. How dare you?
He's also Lex Luthor, right?
Oh yeah, he's Lex Luthor. So bigger roles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he can't be Beast anymore because Brandon Fraser's back as Beast. So
yeah, and
Nicholas Hoult, who's Lex Luthor.
We'll take Kelsey Grammer. You said Brendan Fraser, by the way, which I think is hilarious.
Is it not Brendan? Oh no, it isn't. It is Kelsey Grammer. Although I do want to sidetrack. Nicholas Hoult was also his pictures were also released as well as Lex Luthor.
Really?
Yeah. It looks like
bald.
He just looks like a bald Nicholas Hoult. He's got like scars on the back of his neck. Wow. That could be indication of because there are different origins for why Lex Luthor lost his hair. in the comics. Sometimes he shaves it himself. Sometimes it's because of an accident. Most recently, it's been due to cancer. He loses his hair in the comics due to cancer because he's so intent on taking Superman down. He keeps using kryptonite, and prolonged exposure to kryptonite exposes you to radiation. He ended up giving himself cancer.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's where they're going to go in this, but he does have like these scars on his bald head that could be like teases to why
what
he's
the
bald.
origin is.
There was also a picture of his assistant that's supposed to be in it.
I missed that. It's like 1,200 people in this movie.
It was all on the same set. Like it all looked like it took place in the aftermath of whatever street fight that took place.
Interesting.
Whatever.
I hope this. I know we going backwards. I hope this movie mainly focuses on Superman.
Yeah.
And not Superman and his cast and crew of friendly and foes.
It's absolutely going to be Guardians of the Galaxy in the Superman type movie. But
back to Nosferatu.
Back to Nosferatu. So Bill Skarsgård will be playing the titular vampire, who is Nosferatu or Dracula or Vlad. If you Google them, they are actually the same person.
I didn't know.
And it's the same exact story too. Nosferatu is usually the name that they use when they're depicting like the creepy long finger, long
with the big old head,
bald head,
skinny neck.
Yeah. Non-charming version.
I was gonna say because Dracula don't look nothing like Nosferatu.
Alongside Nosferatu, Lily Rose Depp and Lex Luthor, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver will be starring in this film.
Craven's in this too, guys.
Ralph Ineson will also be in here.
Galactus is also in this too, guys.
And Willem Dafoe,
Green Goblin, is also in this too, guys.
Willem Dafoe will also star in this as well. So the cast is great. Everybody that they casted is a really good actor.
Yeah.
I can't attest to Lily Rose Depp's acting ability, so this will be my first time being exposed to her for that.
Same.
Ralph Ineson, love him in everything he's in. I just watched The First Omen. Really good.
Okay.
Happy ending. Shocking.
In a horror movie?
A happy ending. You wouldn't be surprised, but everybody.
What's considered happy?
Most people in that movie walk away for the better.
Oh, that's good.
Which is shocking.
Until the second Omen and they all die.
Well, it takes place before the first Omen. So this is about just another sidebar.
Yes.
This is about the mother who birthed Damien.
Oh, unfortunately.
And her trials and tribulations.
That's so unfortunate.
And shockingly, she had a happy ending, which is strange, but I'm not going to spoil it past that. You have to watch it. But it doesn't mean what she went through wasn't the worst.
I'm going to keep happy in quotes.
And Willem Dafoe, who, amazing character actor.
Yeah.
Just like perfect. I'm not sure who he'll be playing. It looks like he might be playing like a Van Helsing-esque character. He's hunting
She calls
down
him the professor, right, in the trailer?
So he might be Professor Van Helsing.
Okay, that would make sense. The trailer is very dark, spooky. We get a little glimpse of Nosferatu, but not a full look on. It's a perfect teaser, I would say, trailer.
I'm interested. Not too long ago, I rewatched Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, so you caught up?
Anthony Hopkins was Van Helsing in that movie, which I totally forgot. And Carrie Elwes was like,
I feel like I should rewatch. Have you ever seen Dracula? I feel like I should watch
Bram Stoker's Dracula is Gary Oldman,
right?
Winona Ryder, Keanu,
yep,
Carrie Elwes, and Anthony Hopkins.
I should probably
feel like somebody else is in there. It's good.
I'm gonna give it a spin before Christmas.
Yeah, very raunchy, which I did not expect.
You know, Bill Skarsgård said that he said that his version was kind of like scary and sexy. He said he wanted people to be like attracted but feel gross that they were attracted. And I was like, Bill, what does that mean?
I like classic gothic Dracula, like Castlevania Dracula. Like where he's really tall and lanky and dark, and you don't know whether he's going to eat you or have a conversation.
Got a little sense of style too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a nice coat.
Yeah, I like charismatic Dracula, so I hope it's going to be like that. In Bram Stoker's Dracula, Gary Oldman changed like constantly. He was like a shapeshifter, so he would be like Gary Oldman and with like a wig and a top hat, and then he would be like a beast.
Beast? Yeah. How dare you?
Oh, so, I can see Bill Skarsgård pulling off gross charismatic.
Yeah.
Somehow. I just see him doing it. So we'll see.
The next trailer we got is for Red One. This is a Christmas movie, but won't be coming out on Christmas. This will be coming out a little bit earlier on November 15th. Wow. So this is going to have The Rock in it. It's going to have Chris Evans in it. So we have Black Adam. We have Captain America. We have Lucy Liu.
She was in some. Wasn't she in Shazam?
She's a Charlie's Angel.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
and
you're right.
J.K. Simmons.
Which is Spider-Man. I'm blanking on his name.
Daily Bugle.
Thank you.
Why are we blanking on the name?
You were also blanking. Okay, I thought you were trying to give me a clue.
J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah. And that's why.
We thought about it at the same time.
It's JJ. JK and JJ constantly confuses me. And I always, whenever I see J. Jonah Jameson, I just think of J.K. Simmons because they're almost the same person. He does the character
yes,
so well.
Exactly.
So this is essentially about J.K. Simmons is Santa Claus. He goes missing for some strange reason.
He gets kidnapped.
Yeah. And The Rock and Chris Evans and Lucy Liu are teaming up to rescue him to save Christmas. Mm-hmm.
How predictable is that? The CGI looks cheesy. The plot is cheesy. The line delivery.
I checked out with the talking polar bear.
Is
from the
cheesy.
Coke commercial.
Yes, so there's a talking polar bear, but he's not like a cute and cuddly polar bear. He's kind of like a security guard type polar bear. He's like the ape. The assassin ape from Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. No. It looks like it needs to go straight to streaming.
Yeah.
And apparently the budget for this is like high.
So this is an Amazon original movie. If you can't tell, the MGM logo means it's an Amazon movie now.
Yeah.
Because Amazon bought MGM.
They sure did.
This could have just went on the streaming platform.
It should have.
And if it went on the streaming platform, they should have released it closer to Christmas because more families would have been together and they could have just bunkered in and watched it.
This could have been a family film to counter program for Nosferatu on Christmas. So I don't understand why they didn't put this out
also
on Christmas.
this because Nosferatu has no counter programming.
None. Y'all,
there's no Star Wars that comes out this year because it's usually a Star Wars.
Right. I don't know if there's a kids movie coming out on Christmas, but you either Nosferatu or bust.
Yeah, right. You're either creeped out of your mind or at home. So.
Right. Red One, check the trailer out, and then you can tell us how much you also think it looks cheesy.
This is supposed to be a comedy. I don't think...
it looks funny.
It looks...
looks funny, not in a good way.
Yeah. So, we're interested to hear how this is. This has been in development, for quite some time. It keeps getting pushed back.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
It's not Chris Evans. I want him to stop doing roles like this because he's playing like
Bill's gotta get paid.
It's the very much kind of like quirky. I'm funny. I'm trying to be, I've never done this type of work before, but I'm trying to learn, but I'm the smart guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. His Ana de Armas, his role kind of seems similar to his Ana de Armas film that he did with Netflix.
This time he's like Ghosted. A hacker. Yeah, that was the Apple film that got trashed.
Oh, Apple, sorry. Yeah.
So stop it, Chris.
Next trailer on the list is Here. This comes out November 15th, 2024. So this will be counter programming to Red One.
Okay.
This stars Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, reprising their roles from Forrest Gump. No, they're not.
I was going to say.
Robin Wright died.
What? They both were in Forrest Gump.
Yes. This is an experimental film. It is a fixed camera film. So basically what that means is the whole film is going to be shot from one fixed camera angle for
the whole
from beginning to end.
Movie.
And it looks like it chronicles time. So Earth basically in one spot. Through time, so it looks like we see the prehistoric era. We see the beginning of man. Have you watched the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I was wondering when the dinosaur showed, I was like, "What?"
So probably
when did we get to Robin Wright?
This house used to be. You know what's funny? Because sometimes I drive around and I go, "I wonder if a dinosaur used to walk here." Okay, this is me making a movie.
I mean,
this is me making a movie.
This film is unrealistic because glaciers. Nothing looks like it did in the prehistoric Asia because of the ice age.
At some point where we sitting right now could have been like a T-Rex nest, though.
Where we're sitting right now, we're probably like 800 feet higher and on top of like a sheet of ice. But
you're right. You're also right.
It basically shows a fixed point on Earth through all of time, through history, and we see all of the dinosaurs and the rise of man and wars, and then we see the building of the house on this spot of land, and then we see the Robin Wright and Tom Hanks getting married, raise a family, grow old. We see the house, the interior of the house change.
Right.
It looks like they may have moved. They may eventually move out, and new people may move in. And then towards the end, Robin Wright and Tom Hanks, older, come back to revisit the house.
It's an interesting concept.
It looks emotional.
Of course.
It looks interesting. I'm kind of interested in seeing.
I'm
what all
interested
goes
to
into this.
see how it plays out from from the angle not moving.
Because it's new. It's never been done before, so you kind of have to watch it to
understand,
to have an actual like legit opinion or critique about it, because nobody's done this before.
Right. And somebody said, so this is like a play, and I was like, well, technically, because at a play you looking at one scene.
Yeah,
your head don't move nowhere. It's different, so I give it that. I mean, Robin Wright, Tom Hanks, people that can act, so we probably ain't got to worry about the acting ability.
You mentioned that they do de-aging through most of the film,
which looks weird.
Yeah, so instead of casting a younger Tom Hanks and Robin Wright,
they just did
when
the
they
whole
do
de-aging
their
thing.
younger time periods, they just cast them and de-age them.
They did the Tony Stark move.
Having the camera very close to their faces during this was a choice, but
budget. What studio is this? This is Apple. They probably got the money. They love spending money on experimental stuff that cost a lot and that nobody goes see. It looks interesting. I feel like I would at least tune in because I'm just curious of how it's going to look and play out throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah, so it is going to be directed by Robert Zemeckis, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Eric Ross, and it's based on a graphic novel of the same name. So if you're interested in the lore, you can go look up the graphic novel. Alongside Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, we'll also have Paul Bettany's Vision will also be starring in this film as well, and Kelly Riley, who is from The Biz and Black Box. So yeah.
Okay. We'll see. It didn't seem like it got a lot of chatter, though, I will say, when it came out.
It didn't seem like it got a lot of chatter.
People were kind of like, oh, interesting concept.
There were a lot of trailers that came out this week. So
also true.
The Union is also a movie that will be coming to Netflix. This is going to be on August 16th. It's going to star Halle Berry, Catwoman, Mark Wahlberg, the inventor from Transformers.
I was trying to think of a superhero, but I don't think he played one.
Mike Coulter, who is Luke Cage, and J.K. Simmons, who's J.K. Simmons.
And J. Jonah Jameson.
So this is interesting. They've been talking about this movie for a while.
They have.
And essentially, the movie is about Halle Berry, who's some type of assassin or secret agent, works for J.K. Simmons. We'll just call it MI5.
Sure.
Just for simplicity's sake.
Right.
They have had all of the identities of their agents leaked.
That's not a new
in some type of data breach.
At all.
Ashley Madison. And in order to get the data back and stop the threat that they're facing, they're going to need somebody who's not actually an agent, who's an unknown and a wild card. And Halle Berry chooses to pick her high school sweetheart, who's Mark Wahlberg.
It's funny because Red One, the same premise of Chris Evans' character, is somebody who's unknown, who's good at their job that nobody's heard of.
Yeah. So,
anywho,
interesting. I think if they want to make the movie good, they'll make the twist that it's Mark Wahlberg.
That's the one who did all the. That's not. But you just guessed it. So how is that good?
No, I don't think that's the twist. I think that's what it should be. I don't think that is what's gonna. It's a Netflix movie. I think the twist is gonna be much simpler. I think it's gonna be J.K. Simmons, but because he's the boss.
It's probably some fourth character we don't know or care about.
I think making Mike Coulter the villain would be a waste. Out of these four people, one of them's got to be the villain.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think it's J.K. Simmons.
It's giving very streaming movie, but good for Halle Berry though.
Good for Halle Berry. It looks like it's going to be corny. It's going to be cheesy. It may be fun. It does look like it's going to have some fun action sequences. There's some good fight choreo between Halle Berry and one of the other assassin chicks in the kitchen.
No, she does fight choreo because we've seen her in John Wick
and Catwoman.
Oh. Yes, correct.
Yes. So she does do fight choreo.
You're right.
I also think it's going to be an advertisement for her upcoming film with Angelina Jolie, where they're like spy versus spy. That's
Mod versus
Mod versus Mod.
Yes, correct.
So
you know what? I like seeing Halle Berry on the screen. So
I do.
Even if it's not the best movie ever, why not? We might give it a spin.
I find it funny that the wig reveal was for this film. So a couple weeks ago, she put on her blonde, short wig.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody thought it was going to be her
Storm,
returning for Storm because Deadpool and Wolverine were also filming at the same time. But no, she put on the white wig for this. So
I'm not ruling out her showing up in Deadpool.
I'm not either,
no.
but it won't be in this wig. So this was the wrong wig. She got everybody's hypes up.
She might have used the same wig,
I
though.
hope not.
She went to Marvel like, don't touch my hair. I'm good.
No.
No? Okay. One could wish.
The next stop on the trailer park is My Old Ass.
Oh.
This is a movie that is coming to theaters September 13th. This stars Aubrey Plaza and Megan Park. And essentially what this movie is about is Megan Park, who is a teenager, goes to the woods on a camping trip with her friends, does some magic mushrooms. And while they're all passed out on their own trips, her trip is about seeing Aubrey Plaza, who turns out to be an older version of herself from the future that she ends up having a conversation with. She tells her she tells her how her life turned out, and Aubrey Plaza kind of gives her advice on how to live her life so she can turn out into a functional adult like Aubrey Plaza describes herself as.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like The Notebook. A little bit.
It's a very much a coming of age movie, so it's kind of like trials and tribulations of being young, but you have your older self to tell you, kind of to navigate you through that way. It looks very cute though. It looks funny.
It looks funny. There's a scene where Aubrey Plaza leaves Megan Parker voicemail.
Yes.
So they obviously found out a way to communicate with each other.
Because in the trailer she says, "I found your number through such and such," and I was like, because I asked her, I was like, is she her but older? Because they don't look alike.
No.
So you're kind of like, Aubrey Plaza don't look nothing like Megan Park. But then I was like, oh, she's talking to her through voicemail, through the phone.
So somehow they can leave each other voicemails through time, and that's how they communicate.
And that's how she's listening
There's
to her.
a scene in the trailer where Aubrey Plaza is like leaving her a voicemail, and then at the end of the voicemail, there's like the doomsday alarms going off in the background, and Aubrey Plaza is yelling for everybody to get to the basement.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see what the future ended up turning out like. Or if that'll play a factor.
Because Megan Park on the phone like, what's going on? Are you dying right now?
Is it the end of the world in the future?
Right. There's also another scene in the trailer where she's like, don't date guys named Chad or something. So Megan Park's character is at like a backyard barbecue or something, and everybody's like, oh, have you met Chad yet? And she's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
She told me not to talk to no Chads.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like very cute, heartwarming coming of age movie.
It does. Next movie on the list and the last stop is Deadpool and Wolverine. This was less of a trailer and more of like a movie clip. It seemed like it was a very long movie clip. And essentially it shows the return of actor Tyler Mane, who plays Sabretooth in the original X-Men.
This is the Sabretooth who asked Halle Berry's Storm
to scream.
Yes.
This is Wig Sabretooth.
This is come on, Wig.
Yeah.
This that Sabretooth.
And this clip basically shows Sabretooth showing back up in the void, in the desert, in the daylight with Deadpool and Wolverine. It looks like it takes place directly after Deadpool and Wolverine's fight with each other.
Yes, because Wolverine got a bunch of karate knife swords through him, and Deadpool has to pull him out so he can prep for his fight for Sabretooth, and he's trying to give him a pep talk, and Wolverine tells him to shut the F up.
Yeah.
But he don't say just F. He says the whole word, and Deadpool is like, "Oh my God, you just cuss at me!" It's actually a pretty funny little clip. I will give him that,
because he's basically giving him the pep talk like in a boxing rink. Like
yes, but he's real annoying.
He's super annoying, and it's like he doesn't understand the fact that Wolverine knows who this is, so he doesn't have to give him like a pep talk.
Been here, thank you.
This is going to be a round 2 from their original fight in the original X-Men film when they fought on top of the Statue of Liberty.
Yep.
Yes.
The clip was funny. We kind of already knew, people had already spotted Sabretooth in a previous clip. We just didn't get like a full on conversation or close up. So people were excited about that. We're going to have a checkbox marker for all the cameos we about to get.
Unfortunately, we know how this scene ends because this came out in leaks very, 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 very early on.
Do I know how?
In set photos. Oh, you may not have seen the
Don't
set
tell
photos.
me.
So I know how this ends because the set photos came out. I do hope that we get more than this Sabretooth, though. I do hope we get
different
Liev
version.
Schreiber's Sabretooth as well, because his Sabretooth actually was a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They seem to have alluded to different versions of different characters. So we might get multiple versions of Sabretooth in this.
All right. That is the last stop on the trailer park. Let's dive into this Buncha Crunch.
Okay, so for Buncha Crunch, we got to start off with a sad little crunch. Bill Cobbs passed away at age 90, and you might not recognize that name, but I'm going to read off his accolades, and then you're going to be like, I know that man. Anywho, he had a 50-year acting career in Hollywood. He's been in over 120 television shows and movies since the 70s, which I said you probably recognize him by face. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, which is just up the road from us, and he started acting at the age of 36. So for all my old heads out there, oh, well, we're not old, but all my 30-year-olds out there,
There's still time.
It's never too late to start acting. Films include The People Under the Stairs, The Bodyguard, Demolition Man, Ghost of Mississippi, I Still Know, which you did last summer.
Yes, he was the voodoo man.
Oh.
Who got impaled. Oh, God. He got impaled in a pitchfork against Jennifer Esposito. Took them both out.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Good Lord. You know what? He's been in so many things where you would not, like, TV show wise, he's been in so many things for like one episode. But he's been in like 50 different TV shows.
Yeah, him. There's a bunch of like older actors who cameo in a bunch of stuff.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
working. One of his more popular film roles was New Jack City. He is the guy at the end. He's the old man character who kills Nino Brown. So
Yes.
there was a clip going around right after it announced that he passed away of when he shoots Nino Brown after Nino Brown gets out of jail, and he falls off the balcony, and Ice Cube's character is just laughing because they was trying to get Nino the whole time.
Right.
And old man came and shot him. So other TV shows that he was in: Good Times, Sopranos, The Practice, Jag. I love Jag. I forgot I love Jag. The Drew Carey Show, CSI, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Nice.
So definitely Google him. So because I bet you're kind of like, I don't remember his name, but you know his face. Interesting fact is he is the second cousin of James Franklin Baskett, who played Uncle Remus. And you're probably like, what's that? He sung Zippity Doo Dah from the Song of the South movie. So 1 degree of separation there.
Nice.
So RIP to Bill Cobbs. Next up in our Buncha Crunch, Scarlett Johansson, ScarJo, finally said something about a movie she's in. And that movie is Jurassic Park. Because we were just talking about how ain't nobody said anything about being in this movie. She basically confirmed it, said the script was incredible, which is good to hear. It is penned by the OG Jurassic Park scribe. So we were kind of already in good hands, but this just added a little layer of security for us. She also said she's been wanting to join the Jurassic Park franchise for over a decade. So this is a dream role for her.
That's cool.
It's not one of those, people like to say, oh, they just had to pay her a lot of money to be in this franchise. She's too good for this. And she's like, no, I've actually been wanting to do this for over 10 years.
That's good for her.
So thank you.
It would be funny if she should play like an older version of Lex from the original Jurassic Park. The grown up younger girl.
Would she be old enough though? Has that much time passed? Probably.
She was old enough to see the first Jurassic Park in theaters.
Yeah.
She could be old enough to play like an older version.
Interesting. We're still curious about the entire. Like we got a little bit of the plot. Now we super curious about the rest of the plot.
She did post on Instagram a couple of days ago, or Twitter, whichever social media app that she has.
Probably Instagram.
A picture of her wearing a shirt that says "Drink Your Milk."
I did see
and
that.
People noticed that shirt is from Jonathan Bailey's foundation. So I think that was a soft tease that he's also.
So Jonathan Bailey has
to be in this as
confirmed
well.
via Scarlett Johansson's t-shirt
Yes.
that he is also in this film.
Yes.
Next up in Buncha Crunch, Letitia Wright said that she basically teased Black Panther 3 in a vague sort of way. She was on The View doing an interview about, I'm not sure what. It wasn't anything Marvel related. But she said that there's a lot coming up with Black Panther 3. So she knows something we don't know and nobody else knows. And she says that she would like to continue to play Shuri, which she is. And it was one of her favorite characters to play. So some cooking with Black Panther 3. We don't know what. I'm just glad that it's cooking.
I didn't expect to get a Black Panther 3 the way the second one ended, but I'm totally interested in seeing one if they have enough to make another story.
Cha-ching,
I
ching.
did think that she was going to be in Secret Wars, because why wouldn't she? She's still the Black Panther.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to see her before Black Panther for sure. Because it's also one of those where where are we at? Like, where is everybody at if we're in like a Secret Wars type situation?
Right, exactly.
So, Eddie Murphy said that he has started recording for Shrek 5, which now that I say that out loud, I feel like I've missed a couple Shreks, but that's okay.
Shrek 1.
I've seen 1 and 2 for sure. I don't remember
Shrek
3.
2 was about her trying to turn back into a human.
Oh, was it?
Shrek 3. What was Shrek 3 about? What was Shrek 3 and 4 about?
Exactly.
Yikes.
Exactly. There's a 5 coming. Now you know. There's a 5 coming.
Wow, I have to brush up.
That's
on
what I said. I was like, I feel like I've
Shrek
missed
lore.
I must have missed at least 3 movies. He confirmed that he's recording for that. He also confirmed that there's going to be a Donkey spin-off series.
Oh, wait, wasn't one where he turned into a human? That was one of
Donkey
them.
or
no,
Shrek?
Shrek.
Sure.
He turned into a human because he thought Fiona would love him if he was human. So that's at least 3.
Okay.
So I still don't know what the 4th one is about.
Babies, kids, probably. Didn't they have kids?
kids?
I think they got at least 2 twins. I don't know. Something. But we getting a Donkey spinoff movie as well. So now the franchise is expanding even more because there's already 3 Puss in Boots movies. And I haven't seen a single one of those.
I think they're officially done with Puss in Boots films.
Okay. Although I heard the last one was very good. And I've been
Is Puss in Boots going to be in Shrek 5?
Why not?
Why
we not? They ain't doing nothing.
And his movies made a lot of money, so he's clearly a popular character.
Exactly.
He's the popular spinoff
right. When people were wondering, like, why hasn't Donkey gotten a spinoff yet? Which is a valid question because Donkey is literally Shrek's sidekick.
Yeah.
But they skipped Donkey and went for 3 Puss in Boots
People
movies.
like cats.
Maybe Eddie was busy. Who knows? But anywho, he said he's recording for that next. So we got a Shrek 5 coming for sure. And he's also confirmed that we are getting a Donkey movie. So stay tuned for that.
Last scoop in the Buncha Crunch is a Denis Villeneuve scoop. He clearly came to his senses and realized that the hype train for Dune is here. So why wait for it to come back around?
And he need to hop right back on it.
Yeah, why wait for it to come back around and just keep going? So Denis Villeneuve is expected to make Dune Messiah his next film. Originally, there was an untitled event film that was slated to be his next film that he wanted to do before doing Dune.
Untitled.
And I see why he wanted to do something else before doing Dune.
I get it. I'm not a director, but as a director, I would get why he would want to take a break, clean his slate,
refresh,
do something, changes,
splash some water on his face,
do a little rom-com or something, I don't know,
right.
And then get back into Dune. But I'm sure the studio is like, sir, excuse me, please
Star Wars is officially back in action. They're back to their slate. They have like 3 different eras of film that they're trying to tell.
Need to
so
print that
Warner
timeline
Brothers
out.
like, let's go. And Dune movies, as successful as they are and well liked, they still don't match Star Wars in the box office yet. So I mean, maybe this last one will make $1 billion.
Maybe.
The other one got close. It got like up to like 700 million.
Yes, you're correct.
So maybe this last one will make $1 billion. But yeah, there's no point in waiting for Star Wars to come back in full force to kick Dune off. Let's go ahead and do it while they sleep.
And I read a tweet that said that they've been trying to get one of his movies out on Christmas, but something always happens. Like it either needs to be pushed back, we had strikes, but now they like, Denis, we got a chance, please. So it'll be interesting because now this movie, whatever, Dune Messiah, we just gonna say it's Dune Messiah. Dune Messiah and the next Star Wars film are currently both slated for December 18th, 2026. And I'm curious if they both gonna stay on that date.
They should.
Or one of them gonna chicken out and be like, we gotta move.
I think it's a let them fight type of situation.
I mean, it would be perfect for the audience, and it would give us this would be a legit Barbenheimer.
I
another
also
one.
do think it's alternative broadcasting. Dune and Star Wars, outside of them being like space operas, that's it. That's where
I wouldn't even call
as far
Star Wars
as far as the film, not the lore. Their lore is very similar, but the style of film, Dune is a drama, Star Wars is an action.
One is definitely more kid. I don't say,
One's
younger
more
audience.
digestible.
Yeah, I'll say younger audience. I won't just say kids.
I feel like Star Wars has themes that are more digestible by everybody. And
Who don't love a lightsaber?
Dune has some themes that are just for adults. Kids wouldn't get. There's no flashy laser swords for kids to look at.
I don't think, and we like to do movies, but I don't think the Dune movies are keeping the younger audience that entertained like a Star Wars movie.
Not the younger audience.
Correct. No. Like the ones they trying to get to buy the toys.
Right, exactly.
and the Happy Meals.
There is yet to be a Lego set for Paul Atreides.
I mean,
So,
they might.
They might.
They're doing one for Twilight. So sometimes it just takes years.
Okay.
And years and years to get your set.
Yeah. So Denis Villeneuve's other film that he was planning to do is now going to come out later.
2027.
Some other time.
It got to be 2027 because this is December 2026. He getting paid. You know, he should just do like a short film if he need a little break in between.
Also, I think that they waited too long between the first and second movie.
Dune 1 and Dune 2?
Dune 1 and Dune 2.
I don't think they waited too long.
Dune 1 came out during COVID.
It did.
That was one of the first blockbusters that they released direct to digital.
Yep.
That was years ago.
And then this one just came out when did Dune come out? Was that last year or this year? Dune was this year.
It was this year. Yeah.
Okay.
So, 2-3 year gap.
Yeah.
Go ahead and push this out.
I would say, well, right. And we know it's a trilogy, so don't wait super long.
And the way the last one ended on a cliffhanger, don't leave people on cliffhangers forever.
I just thought it is a perfect middle film.
Yeah, because now everything's officially about to start.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I said the younger audience is definitely going to gravitate towards Star Wars. So keep them on the same date.
All right. So that is the end of our news Buncha Crunch and Trailer Park visit. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back for our movie review of the week, A Quiet Place, Day Uno.
A Quiet Place, Day 1. This week we watched A Quiet Place, Day 1. It was released on June 28th, 2024. It is a prequel to the A Quiet Place franchise, so you did not necessarily need to watch the other two, I guess, but it would be helpful. At least watch the second one or watch a recap like I did.
Still good movies.
Yeah. Watch a recap video like I did for Quiet Place Part 2 so you can at least be caught up with the lore. It is directed by Michael Sarnowski. This is his second feature film. His first feature film was Pig with Nicolas Cage. It was a John Wick type movie, but instead of a dog, it was a pig, essentially. But
People liked it.
It was very well received, critically. So check out Pig as well. The cast and characters of this said film include, if you did not already know, Lupita Nyong'o plays Samara. She also goes by Sam in the movie. Joseph Quinn, who, if you don't know, is from Stranger Things, and he is also Johnny Storm. He will be Johnny Storm in the next Fantastic Four movie, which will probably be his biggest role to date, I would think. Although Stranger Things is also pretty big. Eric is his name in the movie. Alex Wolff plays Ruben. Alex is from Hereditary. He is the son
who got the daughter's head lopped off.
And he looks different in this. If you wouldn't have said that was him, I would have been like,
he plays an adult in this instead of playing a teenager, and he has a full facial beard. So
he grown man.
The mole gave it away.
He grown man in this for sure.
He has a distinct mole that I was like, oh, that's definitely Hereditary.
Okay,
guy.
but once you said it, then I could see it. But before that, I was like, I didn't even. Also, I've only seen a recap of Hereditary because I'm a chicken. So that's probably also why I didn't notice him.
Watch Hereditary. If anything, watch the dinner sequence in Hereditary.
Yes, very good.
Very good.
Very good. Jaimin Hansu plays Henry in this, and then we also have Elaine Umahiri as Xena, who plays Henry's wife. That's all you need to know who was in this movie, because that's all that's on the Wikipedia.
Quiet Place isn't known for an extensive cast list because death.
Exactly. There are other people in this movie who don't make it.
Yes.
And that's the end of that cast. So getting back into our movie review, the movie is 1 hour and 40 minutes, so not very long at all, actually. Budget is $67 million, which is low, but this is horror, and horrors tend to be low. The box office so far, $22.5 million for opening day, which beats both Quiet Place and Quiet Place Part 2. So this is the highest opening day for the franchise so far. It is projected to do a mid 55 to low 60 million for its opening weekend, which will also be the highest for the franchise. So Lupita putting butts in seats out here. Okay. Ratings wise, cinema scores a B+, which is good.
It's on par with the first one.
It is. It's actually the same as the first one. And it's also on par with Scream 5 and 6 and Black Phone. It is under A Quiet Place Part 2, which got an A-, so it's not that far from A Quiet Place Part 2.
It makes sense.
Do you think so?
This one left everybody a little bit more emotional than the previous Quiet Places did.
Okay.
So I think that resulted.
Our mom said that.
in the lower. Oh, really?
Yeah, she said that this one was
A
I'll just
couple
call it
people
emotional.
said. A couple people said that this was They did not partake in their after movie plans after this.
Okay,
But
I can see that. I can see that.
I see why the score went down, but it's still perfect for horror.
Yeah,
though.
good for horror indeed. Actually, the A- for A Quiet Place 2 was probably way exceeding expectations. And it's also, the B+ is also over similar horror movies like Smile, Nope, and Megan, which all have Bs. So
Yeah.
it's good.
I would say Quiet Place Part 1 ended similarly to this one, and that's probably why they both reflect in the audience scores.
Okay, I can see that after having read the plot for Quiet Place Part 1. Critics wise, the score is 84 and audiences is 73. So critics seem to like it a little bit more than the audience, but in general, most people who saw it did like this movie. Do we want to summarize the plots of said A Quiet Place Day?
Sure. We're in New York, and it's day one of the alien invasion.
Literally day one.
Lupita is in New York, as well as Joseph Quinn, and two unlikely people band together to survive and hopefully make it out.
Yeah, that's a very good synopsis. I'm giving too much away. Let's get into who we liked and didn't like as far as our very small cast of characters.
I liked everybody. The cast was so small.
Right.
So, I mean,
There was not room to not like anybody. Is what
there
you're
wasn't
saying.
really a lot of room to not like a lot of people. And a lot of the other characters were just like passerbys. Here's what I say. I hated the non-build cast members. The bystanders.
Oh, fair enough.
The other survivors. They were annoying.
Okay, I can see
They
that.
created additional obstacles for our cast members.
As non-build characters always do.
But as regular cast members, I enjoyed everybody. Special shout out to Lupita. Absolutely carried this film.
Yeah.
Absolutely was the lead in this movie. 100%. We really didn't even get Joseph Quinn till maybe the 30-minute mark into the film.
Yeah, about that. He's definitely it's a little ways in before we get to Joseph.
We were pretty far into the invasion before we ran into Joseph Quinn.
Yep.
So Lupita carried a lot of this movie. Really liked Alex Wolff's character as her friend.
Yeah.
Jaimin Hansu was used sparingly because
Yes.
if you've seen A Quiet Place Part 2, you would know why. But I did like the scenes that he was given. It was just very emotional. I'll say that.
Yeah. I liked, like you said, everybody was good. The build characters were good in this. I like the pairing of the two characters of Sam and Eric, so Lupita and Joseph Quinn. I hadn't seen Joseph Quinn I didn't finish that season of Stranger Things, so I hadn't seen him in anything else previous to this. So I liked him. Like, they did a very good job of being terrified.
Yes.
I mean, we
Especially
like
him.
crying, snotting, spitting. Like they was doing up the fear.
Yeah.
So they both did a very good job. Lupita definitely carried this film on her own as a lead. I be honest, I only saw this because she was in it. So
Honestly.
I don't know if I would have seen this if she did not lead this movie. So that is a testament to how much she can lead a movie and how much I enjoyed this movie.
And though that box office opening is a testament to how well she can lead a movie to success. So she should be in more stuff.
Like I said, butts in seats. And then Jaimin Hansu, also good. He's not in this a ton, but the role that he had, I enjoyed.
His character gets the point across.
Okay, we'll get to that in spoilers. But he definitely was effective. I'll put it that way. All right. Let's go through our non-spoiler thoughts before we get into spoilers.
Okay, so non-spoiler thoughts. There's a lot of death. A lot of people die. It's bloodless, though, not gory. The only blood you'll see is blood stains from
I was
a
gonna say,
murder that may have taken place
was blood
earlier
all
in
over
that
the
day.
city walls.
But no,
It's not gory.
No bodies. They do this thing where they've clearly killed a bunch of people in the street, but when Lupita and Joseph Quinn's characters are walking through the street, there's no bodies. Like, they never walk past carcasses.
Shoes, jeans, jackets, but no actual foots, legs, or heads.
If you're a fan of horror, but you don't like the gore parts,
you'll be all right.
I think this is good. This is a good, and it has a lot of action sequences.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
The monsters are still scary.
And we get a lot of up close and personal with these monsters.
This is the
time.
closest I've been to a lot of the monsters.
I mean, we see like muscles in they innards.
There are a few surprises. We get more monster lore, which is something that every movie sprinkles in just a piece of monster lore. The first movie sprinkled in the fact that they were vulnerable to sound. That was the only thing it gave us. The second movie, the only thing it gave us.
And in this movie, we don't touch on that at all.
Yeah. The second movie, the only thing they gave us was that they couldn't swim. That was another piece of lore. But we still didn't know where they came from or what they were doing here.
Right.
And this movie did add one additional piece of monster lore.
Yeah, so we're in the building blocks of lore, and we don't have a full house yet.
So I
Put
think
it that way.
I will say that I think that this is going to continue with more films.
You think so?
They clearly are building up to something.
Okay.
I'm interested to see what that is.
Interesting.
Other non-spoiler notes. Let's see. Very emotional. It does start off sad.
Oh yeah.
And ends sad. But because you know what, I think it was a good choice to end it sad and make that the prequel.
The way they said, I appreciate how they set it up.
Yeah,
I'll say that. I will say I appreciate that they didn't like hit the audience with like a stinger. Honestly, it was definitive. There's really no twist or turns really for this. It's kind of like you get what was presented to you, and if you didn't see it coming, then you weren't paying attention.
Because honestly, at the end of these movies, it doesn't matter what happens to the characters. Because even the characters that are surviving, it doesn't matter that they leave those characters off on a cliffhanger. We don't know what happens afterwards. The whole world's invaded by aliens.
Right.
Who knows what happens to everybody?
That's true. That's true. I do like that although the beginning and end and some of the middle is sad and emotional, Lupita's character Sam is got a sense of humor about her.
Yeah.
She's definitely funny. I mean,
definitely funny.
She's got a few quippy lines. You like, I shouldn't laugh, but you was funny when you just did that. So I appreciate adding some levity as much as you could to such a movie. So I like that.
Did you have another non-spoiler note?
It gets intense pretty quickly. So we get about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so of kind of like calm normalcy. And then as soon as it jump off, my shoulders was up to my ears, anticipating tension the rest of the movie. So you get about 10 minutes and then an hour and a half of intense action.
Yeah, my one of my non-spoiler notes is that the title card is 10 minutes in. I forgot about the title card because when everything popped off, popped off so intensely. I just thought they weren't going to do one.
I didn't even remember
and then
the fact that
they did the title card, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
Yeah,
like,
it showed up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot y'all didn't even tell us what movie we watching as if we did."
Yeah,
no.
let's do the title card now after all of this.
Right. Another note I have is everyone does a great job. I said this earlier when talking about Joseph Quinn's character or Joseph Quinn's acting. Everyone does a great job of being terrified, scared. There's not anybody who's not believable in being scared. Like you feel like you next to them and you're also scared, which you are because this movie is very full of tension.
Yeah.
And I realized how much sound we make just day to day.
As a test, I don't think I would make it. As a test this morning when I was getting ready, I was walking around my bathroom floor and my feet bones cracked.
Yeah.
And when I'm walking around barefoot, my feet might stick to the linoleum. So I was like, oh man, I wouldn't make it. I can't even go to the bathroom.
You don't realize how much noise you make until you can't not make any noise. I mean, I do. I just start randomly humming Beyonce out of the blue, not even thinking about it. And you would just like not be able to do that. But you would because it's just like an instinct. So
or I snore. It would probably get me in my sleep.
Sneezing.
Yeah.
Don't have a bad allergy day. You're dead.
Yeah.
Like it is over for you.
So I do like the use of New York. I thought that was a good choice. The movie opens up with some facts about the fact that New York operates on an audio frequency of 90 decibels, audio volume or frequency of 90 decibels, which is supposed to be the same as a constant scream.
Right. So loud.
It added to the tension the fact that one of the loudest places in the world has to be quiet.
Dead silent.
And I like the fact that they didn't everybody figured it out very quickly. They skipped the part where
we don't get a long drawn out of, well, what do we have to do?
I like when prequels skip things that we've learned in other movies.
Yes.
Because it's a prequel, but we don't have to go. You don't have to show me the building blocks all over.
We don't get a lot of exposition.
Yeah, they picked up on the fact that they needed to remain quiet very quickly, pretty
Super
much
quick.
between a scene transition,
Right.
and I enjoyed that because we didn't need to do the setup.
Right. Of that. And that's why I said you don't necessarily need to watch Quiet Place 1 and 2, but you need to know the lore, or else you'll think these humans are just like super smart. It's kind of like we already knew that part.
I will say though, if you are somebody like me who is a caption reader, even though you can hear perfectly fine, you might have difficulty understanding what some of the people are saying.
You didn't.
I had to lean over to you quite often to
You
say,
did one or twice.
What did they say?
You did
because
say that.
I am so good at just reading a caption.
There's no
so
caption.
It gave me like Christopher Nolan sound mix vibes. So I'm like, there's no way possible I'm supposed to understand what you guys are saying.
That is interesting. And I just thought you might have just missed one or two things.
And
but
I'm one of those annoying people that by default. So even if you're talking to me in a normal voice tone, I can't help but just say even if I've heard what you said to me, I say but now it's the point of I can't hear what you're saying to me,
right?
And I'm really listening really hard.
That's funny because there are no captions because there are scenes where they have to whisper and be pretty quiet. So you're right. If you are like that, you leaned over like,
yeah,
I could see that.
Definitely just watch the movie and pay special attention to what they're saying. Maybe read some lips.
Maybe don't eat popcorn.
Or go with a friend that can hear really well. Or don't eat popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah. The crunching might overcrowd some of the quieter
Some
parts.
of the dialogue was a little hard, but that's not the film's fault. That's kind of my fault.
Okay.
But I'm just letting people know, for people that are like me.
A tip that you can use.
Yeah.
Another thing I liked was the set design. So we're in New York. I think they filmed a lot of this in London, but they build up the set like you feel like you're in New York with the wide streets and the cabs and the people and all that. I love the blood all over the buildings and whatnot. So like you said, it's not gory, but there's blood on the buildings, the cars, the streets. We got holes everywhere from the creatures like blasting through buildings and blasting through cars and glass and all that. I loved it.
Yeah, the beginning definitely gave 9/11 vibes. Like the
It
towers
did.
just went down.
It did.
You can't see
It's very cloudy.
because the aliens crashed down to Earth through like meteors. So they like blow up these huge dust clouds. You can't see like your hand in front of your face. So it adds to the tension that you don't know what's going on.
You can't see.
People are screaming by default because in their mind the city is under attack. And then you can't even see the monsters snatching people up, but you can hear them.
You hear something.
Yeah.
They did a very good job of shooting the terrified people. They did a very good job of setting up the scene of Sam's character, Sam, she can't see. She's kind of like frantic and she's moving around, kind of almost like she's blind because she's not sure what's going on. They did a very good job of stitching that all together to set the scene of something's happened and the characters don't know what.
Yeah.
So all that was good.
That's the end of my non-spoiler notes.
Do I have anything else? Nope. I think I'll leave it there.
All right. So that is the end of our non-spoiler section of the movie. We are going to get into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first non-spoiler note is Lupita is sick. And that was something that I guessed. I guessed that going in.
You said that, and I think when we saw the trailer in another movie, you were like, either she has cancer or she's homeless.
I thought she was homeless.
You did say that first.
I thought she was like homeless in the first trailer because of just the way she was dressed and the fact that she had her cat on a leash. That's not something people who have house cats typically do. They do that when they have a cat, when they're frequently outside and they're unsure if their cat's going to come back. Is leash their cat.
Right.
So that's what I thought. But she ends up being terminally sick.
Yep.
That was an interesting choice because she is our protagonist and we already know that she's going to die. So then you have to write a good enough reason for us to care about the fact that she needs to survive.
That is, and also they don't just say she's sick. They say she's in hospice.
Yeah, she's terminal.
They don't even, without telling us, like I said, there's not a lot of exposition. They are able to show us that not only is she sick, but she is in a place where she is living out the end of her days. And it was just kind of like, oh, so we kind of already know that by the end of this, and I was fine with that. But I was still interested in her journey.
That made me think, okay, so how are we going to write this? Because she's going to die. So now you have to get me to care about her surviving this.
Right. To get to her ultimate death.
And I like the choice that they made her unwell. She was fearless. So she was a lot more bold. And I like the fact that her boldness is what kept the story going forward. She was on a mission. Basically, it's the end of the world. She knows she's on her way out.
Right.
And her plan is to get back to Patsy's Pizzeria, which is a famous pizza shop in Harlem that her dad used to take her to. And she says she's going to get the last slice of pizza in the world.
And they set that up because In the Hospice goes to a puppet show. That's how she gets to New York City. And she asks Ruben, who is Hereditary Son guy, you know, I'll go if we can go get pizza. Because it is very early established that tradition is very important to her. And that's what she wants to do. Yeah. So we get to the city. They, surprise, they don't end up getting the pizza because the aliens show up. And it's chaos and destruction. And she's kind of like, you know what? I'm getting my pizza. Yeah. Like, I've gone for the world at this point, and I want to go out on my note, not being eaten by no alien on their note.
And that was my second note, because the hospice basically takes everybody in the hospice on a field trip to see a marionette show. Yep. I mean, they're going to stop and get pizza as a side quest. And I was very sad because I was like, are we going to watch all these dying people die? Because I'm not interested in watching these terminally ill people be pulled apart by aliens.
Right. And we don't. We have to assume that some of them did not make it.
Yeah, we do have to assume that some of them didn't make it. Or maybe not, because Jaime Hansu made it. True. He stayed there.
True. So, and a lot of the people from the hospice that she's with are actually older. Like, she seems to be the youngest of the crowd.
So we can get Jaime Hansu and Alex Wolff's characters out of the way, because they have small parts. So Jaime Hansu, if you don't know...
Spoiler for A Quiet Place Part 2.
Is in A Quiet Place Part 2, which is the last movie chronologically in this set of movies. So I won't spoil his role in Part 2. But he clearly lives through this.
Fair enough to say.
Essentially, he just plays a father with his wife and his son. They're also at the marionette show. Right. But after the alien invasion kicks off, he kind of takes charge. And protects everybody, holds them up in a theater, and keeps them quiet.
He pulls Lupita back into the theater after she gets knocked out from one of the blasts. He's the one, you see that in the trailer. He's the one who wakes her up and like tells her like she has to be quiet.
Yeah, him and his wife, they save her. So basically, Jaime Hansu's character and Ruben, who is the nurse, who's Alex Wolff, they're pretty much. They're overseeing
they're the leads of the crowd.
They're the leads of the safety zone that they've set up within the theater. Right. So Jaime Hansu clearly lives through this film. He's watching over the survivors in the theater. Yeah. Alex Wolff, unfortunately, doesn't. So the movie plays some tricks with us between the film and the trailer.
The trailer got us.
So a lot of the scenes are the scenes are there, but they have different characters in the scenes. So in the trailer scene, when Lupita is sitting with Jaime Hansu's wife
in like a cellar of some sort,
in the cellar, and the power goes out and the generator comes on. In the trailer, there's an older guy who in the film is the marionette guy in the theater. He goes to stop the generator and he gets snatched up by one of the aliens. Unfortunately, in the film, it was her nurse, Alex Wolff, who got snatched up.
Didn't see that coming.
As soon as the scene popped off, I was like, oh, well, they're doing him.
Okay, see, I didn't get it because the generator goes off, obviously sounds bad. He runs to turn it off, and he actually turns it off. Yeah. And you're like, whoo, he made it. But then his shirt rips on a piece of the generator, and that creates another sound. And the alien come out and get it. I'm like, God dang it.
It seems like the alien was already there. They just kind of hang out in the dark.
We saw aliens do that, yes.
Yeah. And it seemed like the alien was kind of like already there.
Maybe,
in the darkness waiting for him. Right. But he would have lived, because they can't see. He would have lived. He didn't make any noise, but
he would have.
They do some switcheroos. They do some editing magic between the film and the trailer,
and I like that though.
I liked it, but as soon as this generator sound went off, my mind was like, "Wait, this is the scene. This isn't how it's gonna play out." And then the old man didn't show up, and Alex went to go turn the generator off. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Alex."
It was a good play of hand, because I was waiting for when you see a trailer at least when I see a trailer, some scenes I'm like waiting for, like, oh, this hasn't happened yet, or this is what's about to happen because we saw it in a trailer. But in this instance, I was like, so maybe they're going to have 2 generator scenes?
Right.
No, Alex just didn't make this one.
So this was right after Lupita tells him that she's leaving to go to Harlem to get some pizza. He's like,
Right.
no, don't do that. She's like, I'm absolutely going. I'm dying. Like, I'm getting out of here to go get some pizza.
Right, I'm not dying. I'm not living here with y'all.
So his death was kind of like the final straw for her. She was like, there's nothing left for me here.
Yeah.
I'm out. So she leaves and she heads to Harlem.
And that is the last we see of Jaimin Hansu until the end.
Until the end. Yeah. So that was the end of Jaimin Hansu's character. So eventually she stumbles upon some kids. She's walking through the street. She's being quiet. She's got her cat. Her cat. I did enjoy the cat. It
didn't mind the
kind of
cat.
like a MacGuffin.
I didn't mind the cat. The cat definitely had the moments of where, you have a pet and the pet doesn't realize it's the end of the world. So they just minding their business, doing their thing. And they make
doing cat stuff.
They make a noise. And you're like, stupid cat.
Yeah.
But overall, the cat was not bothersome.
No. So she is with the cat. She's walking through the street. She's on her way to Harlem. She stumbles upon 2 kids who are hiding under a water fountain.
Yep.
That's a callback to the first Quiet Place, where John Krasinski and his daughter visit a waterfall because they realize that the aliens can't hear near water. They ignore the sound of water.
Right.
So
they can't swim.
Right. So he takes to the waterfall where they can like shout as loud as they want and not be interrupted. So this was a callback that you can hide underwater and not be heard.
Right. And I don't think the kids knew that. I just think they were conveniently hiding in the right space.
So she saves them. And she's going to take them with her until the military, who has already blown up all of the bridges.
We see that in the trailer that they kept.
They've blown up all of the bridges
Right.
leading off of the island of Manhattan because they've already let people know that they've been shouting over the megaphones that the aliens can't swim.
Right.
So they're telling people, go to the south pier and there will be boats there. We will pick you guys up. And I like the fact that this is one of the very rare depictions where the military was doing something smart. Because usually in movies, they make the military do dumb stuff.
Or the military is very mean and rude. But they basically are, the helicopters are going one way and making a bunch of noise. So the creatures go towards the helicopter. And the creatures don't know English. So they don't know they telling what the people to do. So they drive the creatures away from the crowds or the people, and then the people go the opposite direction to go to the boats. But that plan don't work out
And that
as
was
intended.
also trailer magic, editing magic, because I also thought in the trailer that in the scene where the military's blowing at the bridge, I was like, oh, the military's leaving them to die. Like,
You're
this
right.
sucks. But
You're right.
in reality, the military was like, no, we're blowing up the bridges. We're still going to come get y'all, but what we have
You're
to do
right.
is stop them from leaving.
In the trailer, actually in that scene, in the movie, the people don't know that yet.
Yeah, the people think that the military is leaving them for dead too.
Right,
When
they're
in
kinda
reality,
like,
and the military let them know far in advance for the radio, like, hey, everybody, you guys need to get off the bridge. We're about to blow them because we have to stop the aliens from leaving the island.
Right. So you're right. The military actually did some good for once.
So that was good.
They helped people.
This was a good depiction of them.
And they just weren't rude and shooting people off the bridge and stuff.
And you could see their strategy. Their strategy was sound. They're blowing the bridge. Cool. I didn't realize it until afterwards when they were deliberately flying low to make as much noise as possible to lead the aliens to the other end of the city.
Right, to let people
And then they
escape.
told people to come out and run down the street. I thought that was smart.
They didn't say run.
I thought the plan was smart.
That's right. The execution, but humans in human error.
A crowd of people tiptoeing is the same sound as a crowd of people walking.
And they ain't even tiptoeing because they got roller bags.
Yeah. And it's like you got people in wheelchairs making noise. You got people with their roller bag
And they're
luggage
not
with
like-
broken wheels.
They're not carefully stepping over debris.
The ground is covered in glass and rocks.
so
every step you take is a crunch.
They just
and
the whole way.
Lupita knows it, so she sends the kids she's rescued with the crowd.
Right.
And she's walking in the other direction.
She
and
going to get her pizza.
The camera follows her, and she's looking around. She's noticing, all you guys are making so much noise tiptoeing around, and this is exactly why she wanted to travel alone. So, of course,
The monster showed up.
And it wasn't even, I love the fact that it wasn't even a big sound that popped off. A
No.
monster just showed up because y'all are making enough noise.
Because it's, in general, if you were in New York City and it was just a crowd of people just tiptoeing the best they can down the street, it would generally probably be quiet.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking. But to these creatures, they were like, oh, it's a party over here. Let's go. And they just start snatching them up.
You can hear a parade of people tiptoeing.
They just like, skirt.
Because y'all are a parade of people. Y'all just make noise by being within the same
It's just
vicinity.
their feet.
Yeah.
Right.
So
You're right. It wasn't a big bang. Nobody dropped nothing. They just was like, oh, I hear the crowd was here. Let me start eating y'all up.
Alien came out and started slashing.
Yeah.
And of course, the people didn't remain calm. They started screaming and running, which is understandable. So more all the aliens started popping out and running into the streets.
Just popping them off like popcorn.
So we get another scene of Lupita frantically running around crowds, trying to hide. We get plenty of scenes of aliens snatching people up into the abyss and disappearing. And then we finally get Joseph Quinn. So Lupita is hiding out in an alley. The cat has run off.
The cat actually runs off and comes back several times. And I was like, is this the moment where the cat don't come back?
Yeah. And that's why I was like, this is a MacGuffin because, and maybe New York City cats are a different breed of cats everywhere else, but how does a cat find its way back to its owner in New York?
The cat had an internal Google Maps because that cat
GPS.
found Sam at any moment.
All the time.
And also found Eric,
Yeah.
Joseph Quinn's character, as needed.
So Joseph Quinn, Eric, was hiding underwater in a flooded out subway station. When the attack is over, he finally comes out and sees the cat, and the cat leads him to Lupita.
Right.
So
who don't want to be bothered.
Who doesn't want to be bothered. But Joseph Quinn's character, Eric, is a scaredy cat, which is by default. It appears he's a scaredy cat by default, but it's enhanced by the fact that he's now experiencing an alien invasion, and he's a foreigner because he's from London.
And he also seems to have panic attacks. So this is probably the worst person to pair up with, but Lupita's like, I'm dying. And she eventually warms up to him.
He's like, she warms up to him because she's dying. She probably thinks you're going to die. And he's like, I don't want to be alone. So she's like, fine, you can come with me. They tag along.
They have a very good moment because they go back to her apartment and she's locked out because she don't have her, obviously she's lost her bags and keys and stuff at this point. And,
rain.
So it starts raining, like pouring down rain, which was good. New. Which was good for the humans because, I don't know, Lupita's character Sam figures it out that, we can talk under the rain because they can't hear us.
Right.
So they get back to her apartment and they need to get in and they use thunder, the loudness of thunder, to kick in the door. Yeah. And once they get into the apartment, that's where she tells Eric, like, through her poems, because she's a poet, and she has like a book of poetry and everything, that's how she conveys that, like, I'm dying. Once again, no exposition, but the characters, through their actions, explain what's going on. Yeah. And that's how they they bond pretty much at that point, although technically she leaves him right after that. Yeah. But they link back up again. But I like how they didn't have to explain it. They just let the character show us how they bonded in this short amount of time. Yeah. So the reason they needed to stop at her house was so she could pick up a spare case of medication. Yes. Whatever her illness is causing her extreme body pain all over. She made a mention to the fact that when she's running out of meds, that her body feels like it's on fire. Right. So she uses like tramadol fentanyl patches to heal her pain. So after they sleep the night in her apartment, she wakes up and sneaks out. I will also say I'm glad that they let her go get her meds and she wasn't in like gut-wrenching pain the whole movie. I'm glad that they solved the problem. They introduced the obstacle and solved it. Yeah. Instead of making because we see her patch fall off there. She's attacked. I'm like, we're about to see her in pain the whole time, but they actually let her character go get meds, and I appreciate that. Yeah. So she tries to sneak out. And of course that doesn't work. Eric ain't having it. Eric ain't having it. We are one now, is what Eric said. And it was sweet because she also left her notebook. She did. When she was sneaking out, and Eric found her and brought it back to her. So. But that led to her making a noise because she accidentally dropped some book. Yeah. So and the creatures was like, party over here. She drops a book, and it was her fault this time because I thought it was going to be him. But she did it to herself this time. She did. It was an accident though. And that's where we get the scene from the trailer of them running through the streets with the aliens like running down the side of the glass buildings. Right. Very good scene. Very good scene. Very tense.
So they're running through the streets. I liked how smart they were. You mentioned the kicking open the door during the lightning strike so it didn't get heard during the thunder.
Yep.
I like the fact that they use the car alarms. Of course, New York is full of cars.
Yes.
Throw a brick in a random direction.
That was used a couple times.
You'll set off a car alarm.
Yep.
And now you got an instant distraction. I like that they did
Smart.
that several times. That was very smart.
Yes.
And now we are in the subway.
Now, this was right before they got into a subway, there was a woo scene for me because they get down to the subway and you think they're good because now they've escaped the creatures from up top. But one of them like slams down into the escalator.
Like, yeah.
And Sam looks like, oh, and she's trying to like go down the escalator. And I also made a sound in the theater because I was scared.
That is another one of my notes is that their reactions to other sounds is funny. So
Realistic.
when they get into the glass office building and they find the escalators to go downstairs and they're like tiptoeing downstairs, you can hear the aliens behind them.
Yes.
Like looking for where they are. And Lupita's face is just like, oh my God. Like their eyes are so wide because
her
they're
eyes
so
are literally
nervous.
About to bust out her head
They're
because she's
so
just
nervous.
trying to quietly, they're trying to quietly run. You can't.
It's the facial expression that you have when you're trying to sneak away from something and not be hurt. Like if you're trying to like sneak out of the work office building or sneak out of the house.
Now imagine there's an alien that could kill you
Yeah.
behind you while you're trying to
So
do
imagine you're like walking across the parking lot to your car and you see somebody that you really don't want to talk to.
Right.
And you're hoping to God that they don't notice you. Now imagine the person you want to talk to is an alien.
Right.
We've all had
that's
those
gonna kill
moments
you.
where we're just like, oh my God.
Right. Like I said, everybody does a great job of being terrified and scared, and it shows all over their face.
Yeah. So they get down to the subway and they're like, okay, well, the subway's pretty much flooded out. Their only means of escape, because they're basically trapped now, is to swim down the subway tunnel.
Right.
Which is... I don't know if I could bring myself to do it, but
No.
it
Which
depends on if I really, really want to live.
Right. So we get Eric and Sam going through, and we kind of see a glimpse of this in the trailer. It's the scene where their basically heads are almost underwater. So they trying to get through this.
Because as they get further, it seems as they get further into the tunnel,
water gets higher. And then they get to a spot where in the tunnel of the roof of the tunnel is a creature chilling.
Who's just created a hideout.
It's like a little hole that is sitting in waiting for some noise to pop off.
Yeah.
So Eric started having a panic attack. And Lupita's like, chill. You got to chill, bro. You got to calm down. She got the cat in a little bag so the cat don't get wet. And they trying to imagine trying to quietly go through water. Subway water. New York subway water.
So
the fact that they didn't have a rat swim by them was
and we saw plenty of scenes of rats.
I was
already.
like, this is rat water. I just couldn't do it. So he starts freaking out, and she
actually gets him to calm down, but he
calls
exhales
or
just too loudly.
shivers or something, and the creature's like, party over here, and it starts chasing them, and that's where we get the chase scene in the water.
Yeah, so it starts crawling on the ceiling.
I mean, and it's moving. It's moving.
So
it's grooving.
They're swimming down the tunnel.
Trying to.
Eventually, they just end up completely underwater. It seems like there's some type of current that's carrying them because they all seem to be carried by some type of current in this tunnel. And it's carrying the alien, too, because the aliens cannot swim.
Right.
So the alien, because they clearly don't have water where they're from, they can't swim and they cannot breathe. They don't know to hold their breath underwater. So alien drowns pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And Lupita and Joseph make it to a church in New York. Yep. And it seems like that's why the alien was hiding out, because it appears that a whole bunch of people made it down that way.
Potentially.
And nobody seemed to be surprised that
there was a hole in the
two of
ground.
them just emerged. Nobody offered to help them out. Nothing. It just seemed like that's how everybody got there.
That was my one critique of the film, is I wish they would have had more interactions with other people.
It seems like they had interactions with people in the theater, but after that...
Yeah, after they left the theater to go get the pizza, or Lupita left to go get the pizza, they didn't really interact. Like you said, they show up to this church out of a hole in the ground, and literally nobody pays them any attention.
I think that everybody for himself mindset...
in overdrive?
Soaked into everybody at that point.
Instantly?
I think I would have. I would have adopted to the every man for themselves.
I would have helped somebody out of the hole.
I would have helped somebody out of the hole once because we were obviously in a safe haven. I would have helped them out, but nobody seemed to be bothered. Everybody was kind of like, oh, well, 2 more people through the hole.
Yeah, and I guess I also would have closed that hole up after that. Like,
I mean, they can't swim.
Oh, you're right. Fair enough. So
that's
you're
like
right.
the one. If that's when, and that's not the only way there, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
So.
Fair enough. But I would have liked them to have another interaction with another group of people, kind of like we saw in the trailer that they end up cutting out. So in the trailer, there's a scene where they're talking to, I think, two gentlemen, and one of them say, New York, this is New York's end of the world. But that scene is actually never in the movie. And I thought we was going to get that. I was waiting for it, and I was like, where'd they go? Okay, they're not here.
That scene was actually replaced with, it was just Joseph and Lupita in Lupita's apartment.
Right.
I thought that they were going to go to somebody else's apartment and hide out, but no, they just went to hers. So.
In the scene where you see Joseph Quinn screaming, it looks like he was in a church, but they actually do that in her apartment during a thunderstorm. So they have like a moment where they both kind of like let out all the pent up ridiculousness that's happened to them. And they do the screaming scene in her apartment.
So once they make it to the cathedral, the pain is starting to set in for Lupita. So she chills out, and Joseph's like, you hang back. Tell me what drugs you need. I will get it.
And we already know how this
So we get a tense side quest. We get a tense Joseph scene. I was like, when are we going to get just Joseph scenes?
I'm surprised. Listen, with Joseph panic attacks, I was surprised he even volunteered.
Yeah, I'm surprised he volunteered, but he probably felt bad. Because it was his fault.
Yeah.
That time.
Right.
So he goes out to a pharmacy to get her drugs. The cat follows him, and he actually has no issues getting the drugs. He gets there, and the issues don't occur until he's on his way back.
And the cat runs away.
And that is when we get into the little piece of alien lore that they gave us for this movie, because every movie they sprinkle in a piece.
Sprinkle.
He stumbles upon not a nest, which I thought was a nest.
We thought it was a nest at first because they look like...
It seems like a garden.
It looked like in that scene in Godzilla where we found the Godzilla's nest with all the eggs. I thought that's what it reminded me of. But
like the Muto laid all his eggs. This seemed like a garden.
But it wasn't no eggs because they was eating.
They were eating them. It seems more like mushrooms. So it seems like the aliens may have planted their own food here, and so that they can eat, because a big standing question in the other films was, okay, the aliens don't eat the people.
They don't.
So what are they eating? How are they surviving? What are they doing here?
Throw you around and stab you.
Clearly the aliens seem to be making their own food, which is at least my theory.
Very weird.
These alien mushroom looking things, they give off like a fume or something, but that isn't.
And they was happy to eat, so.
And let me say I misspoke. So not one piece of alien lore, two pieces of lore. So we get food. We get food lore. We also get mega alien lore.
Oh, yeah, the big guy. Or woman. Or male, female.
It seems like...
unisex.
It seems like they have an alpha thing where there is one huge one that was in New York.
Super
giant.
large.
And it didn't leave the nest. It seems like it's just responsible for monitoring that area where the food
supply?
is. But the size of its head was the size of Joseph Quinn's body.
Yeah, so Joseph Quinn is trying to get the cat. that has walked up like a scaffolding or something. And he's trying to get it to take it back to the church. And he makes a noise, of course, because duh. And the scene that we see is of the head of the monster
just popping
trying
up
to find out where the noise is coming from.
So it opens up its little head shell, and we see the inside of its head.
The very, like, all the way inside.
So it's got the inside of its head has
the throat of some sort, maybe?
Some type of hole that looks like the snout of an elephant or something, where
real
it takes in the sound.
Muscly.
Yeah. Like some little internal muscle in its head where a hole that takes in the sound. And that's how it detects motion.
And we get
it also has a mouth in there.
Zoomed in look of it. And and it's vibrating a little bit, kind of like it's trying to pick it up. Like, where you go? Where you go?
We got a look of its mouth and teeth.
Yeah.
As well.
It was very good detail, by the way. Very good. Very good on the effects.
It's massive. So it doesn't hear Joseph Quinn. It walks away, and we get to see the size of it. It's huge. I don't know if that's like a male one and the rest are females, which would make sense because that's how a lot of animals operate.
Alien animals.
They send the females out to hunt, and the males, who are like the larger version of the species, kind of like monitor the nest.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's where they're going with that, but that was the two pieces of alien lore that we got in this movie. And that was the only piece of alien lore
I was gonna say, and they don't pick it back up.
I was
the rest
expecting
of the movie.
for this dude to show back up because I'm like, he's gonna come back, and he
right
didn't.
when they try.
So he's gonna come back at some point.
You think so?
Yeah, there's no reason. There's no way they planted that, and they're not gonna come back to that. That thing was huge.
Very curious. It was kind of like Godzilla size.
And I don't see them
Maybe
ending,
not that big, but
I don't see them ending all of this without answering the basic questions.
Of where they
what
came
are they,
from.
where they came from.
Okay.
Because we have to know, they have to tell us, is there going to be an end to this? Is the end that we're all wiped out?
Or like what's the point?
What's the end game here?
Right.
So
what is the objective?
hopefully that comes back. I definitely think it does. But he gets the drugs.
Yay, Eric.
And Lupita's back in shape. And
For a little bit.
I was glad.
Yeah.
I was glad that we don't have to do with like in pain Lupita for the rest of the film.
Exactly. So she technically got meds twice in this film.
Yes.
Thank you to the writers for that. Appreciate that.
So they are on their way to Patsy's, and they actually make it there very quickly. They leave the cathedral, and the next scene is they have arrived at Patsy's.
But Patsy's don't look good.
It doesn't.
It's
Patsy's
burnt.
is all burned up. It was
Holes
clearly
everywhere.
destroyed by the invasion. So
And she's very sad.
we get a very emotional scene with Lupita, who's basically like, I am dying and I can't even get pizza.
Right.
So
Only thing I want.
very sad. She breaks down in the street and cries and
Mm-hmm.
has a hug with Joseph Quinn. And he says, well, okay, well, we can't get the pizza. You said your dad used to take you to Patsy's because she said her dad played beautiful piano
At a jazz club.
at a jazz club, and he would take her to get pizza afterwards next door.
Right.
So he would, or wherever, close.
Right.
So he was like, well, where did your dad play piano? So she takes him to the bar, and the bar seems relatively untouched. Nothing has happened there. Probably was closed during the invasion because it was daylight, so that's probably why it was untouched.
So nobody was there to get ate up.
All the alcohol was there. Everything was kept together really
It just seemed
well.
like everybody was it was closed, like you said. Yeah.
So Lupita finally finds a iPod charging station,
Mm-hmm.
iPod speaker, and she finds a place to plug up her iPod and charge it.
And we just knew that sucker was going to turn on.
I thought it was going to automatically come on and play
At
music, but
any
it
moment,
didn't.
it did not. But that sets up the tension because the whole scene, I'm like, that sucker's going to turn on, a creature going to show up, and it's got to be lights out.
Yeah.
But it didn't turn on the whole time.
And we get a very long, emotional, and beautiful scene.
I liked it.
Between Lupita and Joseph. She's nearing the end. Mm-hmm. And he's cheering her up. They got some drinks.
Yep. Little liquor.
He found a knockoff pizza place because New York has a bunch of pizza places.
Right.
So he found one intact pizza place and got the last box of pizza that was in there.
Right.
And took a permanent marker, wrote Patsy's on it, and gave it to Lupita. She really appreciated the gesture.
Right.
But
pizza was just okay, though.
Her facial expression said the pizza was nasty.
Right.
So,
But she was probably a little hungry. So
she's
she
like,
took
all right,
a couple bites.
fine.
Right.
We get a really nice scene with him. He knows how to do card magic tricks.
Mm-hmm.
So they use the stage and they pretend that they're in front of a crowd. And he does the whole pick a card, any card. And he does the trick. It works.
Right. And she's actually surprised.
She's actually surprised. She's like, no, you cheated.
Right.
But she actually surprised. She enjoyed it. And they had a really, really nice moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hear the horns of the boat.
Right. And we getting towards the end of the movie.
So they go up to the balcony of the bar and they look out, or the fire escape, I'm sorry. They look out and they see the boat is just like idling.
Yeah, and it's starting to pull off.
Idling around the pier, making noise, drawing aliens towards the I think they're intentionally drawing aliens towards
think
I think
so?
they're doing it because why blow the horn?
I was like, why are we blowing the horn? Like, the barge sound that a boat would make is literally doing it repeatedly. And I'm like, why are they doing that? Because the aliens are coming to the shore where the sound is, but they don't swim, so they're not going in the water. And I'm like, what is the
if
point
you're
of that?
doing that, if you're making any type of noise now, it's deliberate. I'm not sure why.
And I didn't get it also because, people are trying to get to this point to get on the boat. So why would you be attracting the aliens? I didn't get that.
I feel like they were
was
doing it on
confused.
purpose, but I'm not sure what the end game was.
Yeah, me either.
But they
interesting.
notice that the boat is idling, and they're like, okay, we can still make it.
Right.
So I knew this was the end for Lupita because Lupita, wearing her iconic yellow cardigan throughout the whole movie, she takes it off and she gives it to Joseph Quinn.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this is it. She's giving her most prized possession over to
Right.
him. So they make it to the pier. And they're surrounded by aliens. The aliens can't see them, but there's no way that they can get. There's no way they're going to be able to get past them to get to the boat.
Right.
So Lupita gives Joseph Quinn her cat.
She does she sacrifices herself essentially.
Yeah. She gives him the cat, and
that's how you really know. Like, she didn't give up the sweater, and now she didn't give up the cat. It's like, oh, it's about to be over. It's about to be over.
So she tells him,
Run.
Run.
She literally tells him just
So she grabs a crowbar, she starts banging on cars and setting off car alarms again.
The car alarm trick, yes.
And distracting the aliens. And the aliens don't get her because she'll hit the car and then she'll run off really quick. So they don't catch her.
Right.
But she gets enough distance to where the aliens are distracted and gives enough distance and time for Joseph Quinn to make a run for it off the pier and make it to the boat. And he just makes it.
He just makes it because he accidentally trips over like a piece of something. And the alien's like, well, party over here. So they start running towards him. So he got to make a leap into the river, actually. He don't initially make it to the boat. He got to make it to the river and swim. Yeah. With the cat, by the way.
So he just makes it.
With the cat.
And Jaime Hansu pulls him up on the boat and Joseph Quinn is safe. Yeah. And he gets on the boat and he finds a letter.
From Lupita. I'm sorry, Sam.
That she wrote and stuck in the sweater pocket because she knew she was going to sacrifice herself. And she basically tells him, thanks for helping me out and helping me with my last mission. And take care of my cat. Don't feed him too much because he will get fat. She mentions that a couple times.
He doesn't like his belly rubbed.
And we get one last scene of Lupita, who is walking through the streets.
She stops at the jazz club first.
She does stop at the jazz club.
And this is where we see her picture with her dad, and we find out that the yellow sweater was her dad's sweater.
Yes.
Because her dad has a sweater on in the picture.
Yeah, so the yellow cardigan was her dad's cardigan. He died through the same illness that she died. Yep. And she tells Joseph Quinn that he died just the same way that she's dying now. And she takes the iPod and the big iPod speaker. Yep. And she walks through the street to attract the alien. And the screen cuts to black.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because she first walks with headphones in.
Yes.
So she's walking peacefully down a quiet street. Of course, there's no people around. There's no aliens that we can see. And she's just saying, I miss being in the city. I love the city. You forget how beautiful the city is. And she obviously has come to terms with this is the end. She takes out the headphones of the speaker. Obviously, I can't think of what song is playing. Very popular song, classic
It's a new
song.
dawn, it's a new day.
There it is. Yeah. She takes it out. Obviously, sound is now playing out of the speakers. Alien drops down from the sky, and it cuts to black.
Yeah.
So we don't
know the alien's about to get her.
Yeah, we don't see her get taken, but we know that that's the end of the road for her.
And that is the end of the movie.
That's literally it.
And I thought it was a great ending.
I love the ending. I won't say love because seeing the fact that Sam didn't make it was sad. But I like the fact that we knew. That she wasn't, we knew at some point she was not going to.
And I like the fact that she got to go out on her own terms. She did. She didn't have to stay in the hospice and lay in bed until she died.
Right. And her whole point was, I know I'm going to go and I want to go get my pizza. Yeah. And then I'm going to go, whatever happens after that is whatever happens after that.
She got to save herself in the process and she spared herself a long, agonizing, painful death.
She did. I also like the fact that Eric didn't die. He very much could have went at any point.
He could have.
And then she could have been like, I'm just going to keep going on my mission. I also like the fact that there wasn't no crazy plot twist of, oh, she got a cure, so now we going to save her and this and that. And, I like that we didn't add no crazy twist at the end. Even though we knew from the beginning, we were still interested in her journey. So that made it a good movie.
They wrote it really well. And that was important because like I said, when you establish that the main character is meant to die anyway, you have to write the rest of the story around. Okay, so the rest of this has to really be good. Care? Why do I care? And I think that the pizza premise and the message behind it was enough.
Yes, exactly. It wasn't just pizza. It was the fact that it was a tradition that she had with her dad, who also passed away through the same thing. And they established it early on. It wasn't just out of the blue. She was like, well, now I want pizza. And you're like, but why would you? Why? But she had, it was established of why that was so important.
And she was adamant about getting the pizza when the alien invasion first popped off and they just weren't aware of it yet. And they were already trying to take them back to the hospice. She was like, no, we just need to stop and get pizza. It'd only take a couple minutes. And he was like, we have to rain check. And I like the fact that it kind of established the fact that she probably wasn't sure if she was going to be able to come back and when that would be. So she was like, I need to get this now.
Because earlier in the movie, right before this, he was like, oh, we're going to the city. And she was like, the last time was supposed to be my last time going to the city. And he was just kind of like, oh, well, you was right.
This is another time.
Right. So he actually proposed the pizza to get her to go. So she was like, yo, you brought me out here. So I like the fact that they just made that connecting thread really strong throughout the movie, and it wasn't just like introduced just randomly, like, oh, it's just pizza, but it was very important. Yeah.
Okay. So what we liked and what we didn't like about the movie, is there any other notes that you want to cover?
I will add that I like that they didn't try to fight the monsters.
I do like that.
Because it would have been nonsensical, because they just figured out that these monsters showed up. So there was no way somebody was going to be agile enough to be like, oh, let me try to kill one of these things.
And they didn't know about the frequency thing yet. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you would change about this movie?
I would have liked, I think I already said this earlier, but I would have liked if we got another scene. The movie actually fell short. So I would have liked another 15 minutes or so of another scene of them either having another interaction with the creatures and having to escape, or another interaction with a group of people that they didn't know.
When she finally meets Joseph Quinn, I leaned over to her. I was like, there's 40 minutes left.
Yeah. I was like,
there's 40 minutes left in this movie.
I mean, the editing is good. The plot, what do they call it? The pacing is good.
Yeah.
I actually would have liked a little more. So I would have changed making the movie.
Yeah, this could have been longer.
I could have took another scene or two.
They didn't
honestly.
encounter many survivors. After they decided to go alone, they were alone. They didn't really encounter many other people. And if they did, they never spoke to them.
Right.
They were barely in the same frame with other people. So there was room to make this movie longer, but I think that it was perfect. I wouldn't change anything. I think it is already one of my top picks because it's one of the shortest films we've seen this year.
It is. And they added a little bit of everything. We also got some scenes of people acting a fool. There's one, you didn't mention this, but Jaime Hansu's character kills somebody because they're in the theater, and a guy starts freaking out when they start blowing up the bridge. It's like, it's over. They leaving us here to die. And he starts being like screaming. And Jaime Hansu's like, yo, I need you to shut up. But he won't shut up. So his character Henry kills him accidentally.
He tries to quiet him, but he bangs his head up against the wall and kills him.
He had to go. I'm sorry.
He had to go.
He
was going to die anyway. He was either going to shout and make noise and the aliens were going to kill us all, or Jaime Hansu was just going to let him go by himself.
Yeah.
And he needed to go by himself.
Yeah, so I didn't mind that killing.
And the theater was full of kids, people that were already elderly and dying and wounded. They couldn't risk that.
I like when it's silly to say, but I like when they add annoying characters and then they have the smarter characters, level-headed characters kind of check them, because it's kind of like, come on, it's realistic. Why would you be making noise right now? There's another lady in the street who's crying, but she's trying to muffle her cries with her mouth. And it's like, lady, they can hear you. And naturally, she gets snatched up.
Yeah. So I nobody gave Jaime Hansu flack for killing that man. I think that you deal the cards that you're dealt. You play with the cards that you're dealt.
Look, he had to do what he had to do. Okay.
Who would like this movie? I think if you're a fan of all of the Quiet Places, I think that this is a great addition. So you'll absolutely love this movie. If you're a fan of horror, you will like this movie. Absolutely.
A little sci-fi.
But if you are sensitive to topics like death, the whole movie is about death. If it's not death and alien invasion, it's about the finality of life with Lupita Nyong'o's character.
And having a terminal illness, yep.
So, and I did see a couple people say that they loved the movie, but it bummed them out. So if you are sensitive to topics around terminal illness, death of family members,
right, losing somebody,
and it's a disaster movie. They all have those elements.
Right.
Day After Tomorrow kind of had those elements.
It's not your senseless just snatching people up. It's very much kind of like somebody is having a end of life moment that has nothing to do with the aliens in this movie.
This is just a regular, you happen to have somebody, not regular, but you happen to have somebody who is going through a terminal illness, which is common.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with the
alien very invasion. Uncommon situation that they are thrown into.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's emotional. I will say it is kind of sad, but it's a very good, it's a beautiful horror film. I will say that.
Yeah.
It has very beautiful scenes. I really, 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 really love the bar scene. That'll probably stick with me forever. It was really good.
That is actually, in our next segment, my favorite scene.
Really?
My favorite scene would have been a jazz club. Not only because the bonding between the two characters, but Eric trying to cheer her up, her finally getting to a space where her dad was, she didn't get the pizza that she wanted, but he was trying to fill that gap for her. And that was literally her whole mission. So she kind of got to complete her mission that she was on.
And it was the finish line. They made it to the finish line.
Right.
And it wasn't the end of the movie. And it kind of got like to revel in the fact that they achieved what they set out to do.
And I also like the fact that there was that underlying grain of tension that I thought her iPad was going to set off some sound.
I was waiting for a random song to just start blaring all of a sudden.
So, and the fact that it didn't happen was just the whole setup scene was just very perfect.
Because we've all had those moments where we plug up the aux cord, not meaning to play the music, and it's like on 100.
Yeah. So that whole setup scene was perfect. I
loved it. That was my favorite scene. I'll add a section to this for horror and do best jump scare.
Oh, it had to be when they were going to the subway and they were trying to run. So this is the scene right after the
when
scene
the
in the
alien
street.
landed down on the escalator.
When I tell you, I let out an audible whoo in the theater. I am not joking.
I have another one.
Okay.
Mine was Lupita's dream in her apartment.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene after they make it to the apartment and they go to sleep. Lupita has a dream where she wakes up, she's looking outside, and I think she's just a dream of reminiscing what it was like living in the apartment. But she looks outside and she can see the hustle and bustle of the street. And I forgot. I was like, wait, why are there cars?
It was very weird.
It looks normal outside. This is an alien invasion. And then the I don't know what a Demigorgon thing pops up in the window and screams and wakes her up, and that scared me and that scared a bunch of other people in the theater.
There were a lot of whoops at that moment as well.
I would say that was my best jump scare.
Right. There are several other kind of moments in this movie where you think it's an alien, but it's not. Those were also good.
And there's so many, and there's so many jump scares because every scene has no sound. Right. And then whenever the alien shows up, it's never just like a saunter out of the darkness. It's always like with a bang. It's always like slamming down on the ground.
They themselves are also
knocking
loud.
down scaffolding.
Also like that anytime a character like made a noise, they're like instantly look around. Like Sam takes some food from a local pharmacy or whatever. So, and it's a tuna can almost. So she's trying to rip open the metal top. So she's trying to be real quiet about it. And she's looking around like, did he see me? Did he hear me?
It reminds me of cough phobia that we used to have during COVID when, when COVID first broke out and you would be in line in Target and then somebody would cough and everybody in line would go,
oh God. You got the Rona. Get away from me. Get away from me.
It reminds me of that when one person makes a little noise after
everybody freezes up.
Yeah.
Yes. That was very good. Very good. Very good.
That was my favorite jump scare. But yeah, the movie had a lot of jump scares. A lot of just like, and some plot holes you had mentioned that I also thought about too.
Yeah, with the creatures.
They can't see. So, and I think they did the not being able to see thing a lot better in A Quiet Place Part 1 and 2.
Okay.
Because they can't see, so it makes sense that they don't just be out walking around because they can't see. So they'll just be still until they hear a noise.
And although we don't know what they're doing.
But there was a scene that really brought up a question. The pier scene.
Yep.
When the boat is idling at the pier looking for survivors. And the aliens are like on the shoreline, and the aliens
screaming at the boat.
The aliens know to sidestep around the shoreline, but not run directly out into the water. In A Quiet Place Part 2, the reason they found out the aliens can't swim is because one alien was chasing Cillian Murphy and them and jumped out into the water and drowned. Yeah. So I was confused why they didn't do the same thing. And this is day one. Yeah,
there's also a scene, the scene that Eric jumps off to get into the river to get to the boat. The aliens know enough to stop.
Yeah, they made them
not
smart.
fall off of the bridge to get to the water. And I'm like, well, how do you know if you can't see? What are you looking at?
In the other Quiet Place film, the aliens just seem more animalistic and instinctual. They didn't seem intelligent. In this one, they seemed smart. They were deliberately sidestepping around the pier as to not get in the water because they knew they couldn't swim. I thought that was weird. And how could they see the shoreline?
Yeah, I didn't get that. And I had a question about the alien that was hiding in the subway because I was like, well, what are they hiding
I think it was just listening.
But listening to
But how does it know whether other things can see it or not? How does it know hide in the darkness?
Yeah, they were moving because Eric has a flashlight and Sam tells him to lower the flashlight. I'm like, but he can't see
He can't see it.
He can't see the
light.
light.
So how does the alien know it's hiding in the dark? How does the alien know it's hiding?
How does it know it's hiding in the dark? Why is it listening for sounds to not eat? Because it doesn't eat people. So what are
Just to kill.
What are we doing?
Right.
Yeah, there was some plot holes around the creatures that.
And how don't they attack each other? Because if they just react to noise,
How do you
they
know that's your brother making that noise?
Because
over
if
there?
they react to the sound of something slamming down, how do they know it's not the sound of your brother slamming down over there?
Very true.
Why don't they go at each other?
Yeah.
Some questions that I think that they should, while they're seating in their lore, they should be doing some sweeping around the front porch.
I feel like if they make another movie, it's gonna have to be between this one and the first one, right? Because the Quiet Place Part 2 ends with. Like, we kind of know what's going to happen.
Humanity's making a comeback.
Right. We know how the survivors are going to survive. Mm-hmm. But in this one, I'm just kind of like, how do we get from this to one?
Yeah.
Essentially is where, and then why are creatures there? How can they do certain things that they do? What was the little food nest that they had?
Yeah.
So there was some
Because there's no point in building additional lore after Quiet Place Part 2.
Exactly.
Unless they come up with another obstacle. Like, the frequency didn't work. Or maybe the frequency doesn't work on the giant ones.
I don't know. Let's not take it
Why
too
throw in
far.
the giant mega one that never shows up to kill Emily Blunt or Cillian Murphy?
Well, it's protecting the food, I guess. I don't know.
And is it just one? Is there one in like per region?
Maybe. Maybe.
I thought that was
they're
interesting.
the elders.
I'm interested to see the explanations for that. How can they see? Do they have echolocation? Because they didn't if they could see like bats, that would make sense. If it's like sonar, but they never explained it. I was gonna say sonar.
That's not it. There's no explanation for the aliens.
Yeah.
At all. So I'm not sure how anyone would even figure that out.
Questions that need answered.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Right. Final words about the movie and our rating.
I would say, even if you haven't seen the previous movies, this one's definitely worth a watch. I was not literally edge of my seat, but mentally I was at the edge of my seat pretty much the whole movie. Good acting, good jump scares. It's not gory, but it's got a lot of blood. If you are sensitive to things like people dying of like terminal illnesses, it might not be for you. But if you are good with that, definitely recommend. I am going to give it 4.5 Nicole Kidmans.
I am going to give it 5.
Okay.
I'm giving it 5. I really, really liked the movie.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that they made a horror movie. I tweeted, I was like, I really loved it because it's very hard to make a horror movie beautiful. And I feel like the scenes with Lupita in the bar, and the scenes with her poems and stuff, I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
So,
and the only reason I take off half is because I would have actually liked a little more meat.
It could have been longer.
I would have liked the extra complaint. Yeah, I would have liked the extra scene with them doing more stuff, and I would have liked a little explanation of the aliens and how they was able to do certain things. Yeah, but that's my only reason why I take off half. That's it.
Yeah. So, go see A Quiet Place Day 1. It's an amazing movie. It is an hour and a half. There's no after credit scene, so it's 99 minutes, but that last 9 minutes is the credits. You can dive out of there. And we went to go see it at 7, got out at 9.
8:50, sir.
Yeah, 8:50. And it was still daylight. I still felt like I could get things done.
Felt real productive after the movie.
Somebody did say you should plan something happy after.
Oh, okay.
Sure, plan a dinner. Go see the movie and then go get some fun food. Go like a sports bar or something. Go to Penn's.
Go watch
go to the bar.
Go watch the Marvels.
Or go watch the Marvels. Another hour and a half.
Exactly.
All right, so that is the end of our review of A Quiet Place Day 1. Absolutely go check it out. Where are we seeing next week?
Maxine, she looks just like you. Every time I hear that movie name, I think of that John Legend song, and I'm not going to be able to disconnect them now. It's stuck like Chuck.
We are going to go see Max XXX Scene in theaters when it releases on July 12th, and we'll be back to give you a review on that, hopefully. Hopefully Cheryl will have watched Pearl in that time, but what she did watch is X. And how did you think about X?
Okay, I'm going to give my honest opinion. It's a little slow. It was a little slow, and it took too long to get to the stab, jab, jab.
But once the stab, jab happens, it happens.
It's off the rails at that point. But I text you like, when do people start dying in this thing? Yeah. And it's literally like 55 minutes in, and the movie's only like an hour and 45 minutes.
X is one of my favorite slasher movies.
Interesting.
It's a callback to a lot of different old.
I can see that
like
for sure.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
A lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Most of it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
But it does take a while. It does have a lot of buildup. And the reason it has a lot of buildup is because it really, 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 really gives every character all their screen time and moments.
Agree.
Before they all die.
Correct.
So
I give you that.
You get to know every character. You get to know Jenna Ortega. You get to know
her
Maxine, her boyfriend. You get to know all the Kid Cudi, all the cast members. Yeah. They all get a lot of screen time. You get to know Pearl. You get to know Pearl's husband. And then they start killing each other. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I need to watch Pearl, which I will do within the next 6 days.
You will need to watch Pearl.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a screening.
Yeah.
Of that was advertised as a screening of Pearl, but it was actually a screening of Maxine.
It was supposed to be a double feature of Pearl and X, and they watched X, and then when they were about to watch Pearl, they showed the Maxine instead. Mm-hmm. And most of the people were like, "Oh my God, this is like great," and then some people were like, "But I ain't seen Pearl yet."
Apparently, people were confused. If you haven't seen Maxine, there are some things you're going to be confused about if you don't watch Pearl. So you have to watch both.
So watch both. X was very quick though. I give you that. So even if it's
like I think they're both like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, or hour 50 at the most.
Maybe Pearl's even shorter.
It's not. It don't take long to get through. But
I will say Pearl is slower, but Pearl is not a slasher. Pearl has murders in it, but it's a drama. But it's a really good drama.
Okay.
Mia Goth is extremely good in it. She's better in Pearl than she is in X because she gets more to do in Pearl.
Okay.
And this will be your first time seeing Superman in a movie because he is
the lead. It is. I did hear that he was in. I read that
he's one of the lead actors in the film as well. So I'll look forward to hearing your review of Pearl and your thoughts about Superman.
Okay, Clark Kent. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening. If you like our show, please share it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a voice message that we can play on the show if it is an appropriate and nice message to play. You can also follow us on Twitter at vaguelynerdypod or IG at vaguelynerdypodcast. And if email is your thing, you can email us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com. Until next episode.
Bye.
Bye.